Hello and welcome to Pau in the southwest of France for the International Canoe Federation's third Slalom World Cup of the 2016 season. A lot of the top athletes are here competing for honour, for national pride and the right to be called the champion at one of the most stunning locations on the World Tour. I'm Matthew Layton. I'm going to be with you for pretty much all the weekend. We're going to be covering the semi-finals today of the C1 Men, C1 Women, K1 Men, and then we have the final show, and this evening we're going to be even showing some slalom cross. A very, very busy activity today. We actually are course side. We'll explain in a couple of seconds where we are. The guests today, will be having them coming quickly and fastly through. From last week, I think he did such a good job of inviting him back. Unfortunately, hasn't made the semi-final, but been out of the scene for 8 years. Spencer Pomway from Canada and Patrick Washer from New Zealand, the first time with us. So, Spencer, your thoughts? It's slightly humid today.
Yeah, it's not the nicest weather we've had, but I think that it'll still be a good day of racing. We've got a nice course set for today, and I think the action's going to get started quite shortly, so we're in for a treat.
Patrick, hello.
Hello. Yes, so far the French summer's been slightly underwhelming, hasn't it? A bit on the wet side, but who knows?
Well, it's been humid. We've had all 4 seasons in a couple of minutes, in fact. This morning we've been in the course for about an hour or so now, and there's been a huge downfall. But as you can see, most importantly, the gates are stable, so the conditions will be fair. Look at the course. It's long, it's tough, it doesn't give up, does it? Last week we were in Les and there were 3 or 4 places where you could sprint, but here it's just a question of bang, 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 as I understand it.
Yeah, it's a very tight course for today. They set a tough course for the qualifiers yesterday, and they didn't disappoint with this one. I think that there's certainly a few moves towards the top section where it's quite quick that'll be make or break, and then down on the bottom, a couple moves using the hole, so I think that'll be another area where athletes will be forced to be on top of their game.
Well, graphics here are showing you the first 10 athletes to go in the semi-finals. So there were a lot of people started off. They did 2 heats yesterday, and it's the top 30 are going to go in reverse order their performance. So we have a lot of big hitters coming up in the end. In the next screen we'll see the top athletes in the world. A few athletes you'll say, well, why are they ranked number 2, 3 and 4 in the world and they're not here? Well, some of the athletes are preparing for Rio, which perhaps is a priority. Other athletes like Martin didn't make the team this year, so he's not here. But we have what we have. We have Savchek, Benes, Koklin, who's been performing really well so far this year. Stavkovsky, who obviously won last year, and some really talented athletes to look forward to today.
Yeah. I think just going back a few points, what you're saying about the course being quite relentless. Not only is it physically relentless, it's quite mentally straining. So you don't have any breaks like you did in Sao, as you said. You have to be thinking continuously the whole time. And if you do come offline, you have to get back online and recenter yourself and don't let it get on top of you. It's should be a good course. We'll see. It should separate the men from the boys a bit too.
Well, that's what the idea is, to have the top athletes on the day through to the final. We saw the course yesterday, as you mentioned, Spencer, was a lot of people said it's very difficult. Well, let's see how the first athlete, Yuri Lenacic from Slovenia, is going to cope with the first. Let's just talk us down the generality of it.
So the start move here, it's again, like I said, the top of the course is very quick, and he's done a very good job navigating the first 3 gates. I think that's going to be a tough move for some folks to get in high for the upright, gate 4 there. And then coming through here, he's going for the spin option, which I think is a pretty good way to do it. The eddy line there is quite tough to get over and be in a nice place for the downstream.
Yeah, and Yuri is one of the, in my opinion, the smoothest paddlers on the circuit. As you see him, he makes everything look quite easy, so it's a bit deceiving when you're watching from home. But yes. But no, he's going so well so far. He looks to be pretty well online. He's always getting a bit tripped up there, but he's I think a trick with Pau is that you have to try keep online for most of the run, and it's how you adapt. And you see Tony Estonga from, I believe, 4 years ago, is very well at that. Knows the course very well and can get back online continuously.
We were commentating here when he did it in 2012, 6 weeks before the Olympics, and it was exhibition. It was just glorious.
Oh, yes.
And even last year I had him on the commentary here for a while, and he was just saying, wow, he was just in the zone that day.
Yeah. No, he's definitely one of the greats, one of the all-time greats.
Yuri had a little hiccup there just underneath the bridge coming across the hole. It's a tough move for paddles on the right who can't get a good stroke on the left to turn back down through the eddy. Another tough move here through the hole.
No, he's been going 90 seconds. I guess the tiredness must come into it.
Yes, for sure. Your arms would be burning. But not only are your arms burning, so you can't lose focus. So he has to, be aware of where the gates are, be aware of what the water's doing, and just sort of stick to his plan, I guess. And I think that should be a fairly respectable run, and clean run, and no major mistakes. Would you agree, Spencer?
Yeah, I think that he'll be pretty happy with that. He might have lost a couple of seconds under the bridge there, but I think that's probably a decent time for.
Yes.
Well, 36 years old. You can see the graphics. We give you a few ideas of where they are. Ranked mid-40s, so expects to make the semi. Will be delighted to make the final.
Yeah. No, this paddler's very good at Sao, and I guess he's still going pretty well at Po. Be making the semi, and he's quite a good paddler.
Ooh, we got a bad little break there. The wave disappeared on him, so he ended up a little low to the up, but he's keeping the boat running. Managed to save that pretty nicely.
As you'll be seeing from home, it is quite wild. The water is a bit wild there. There's big waves going left, right, and centre. So he didn't make too shabby work from it.
That is the one open section of the course where there's a bit of a sprint, but it's a patch of water that's always changing. You have some waves popping up, moving, and shifting your boat. So it's an opportunity to gain some time, but it's also a place where it's important to keep the boat on track.
That move there, he did make it a little bit hard for himself, and that he didn't have much downstream speed. So when he hit the hole, he didn't have a lot carrying him over it. So as you saw, he got a little bit stuck in it, but he didn't. He cleaned it up pretty well, and he's up in the split. So all in all, not too bad.
Well, so far, no one's bothered to touch the post.
Yeah.
They must not have been watching my runs from yesterday.
All mine.
Yeah, he's looking like he's got a good run going on the bottom here. He'll be pushing for the finish, and I think that he might be taking the lead with this one here.
Well, two athletes gone now out of the 30. 1:07.92. Well, that maybe gives the others something to think about.
Yeah.
One of you talk us briefly about the course.
Well, they set a few tricky moves. Down in the middle section, gate 11 and 12 was switched from yesterday. And watching the demos yesterday, it looked like there was two different options. You could either do the spin, which we've seen both athletes do so far, or you could almost treat 11 like an upstream and have a better approach to the upright 12. So I think that'll be an interesting one to see what competitors choose to do through that move. And then the bottom, the move over the hole, it's a double up, and then crossing back over is an area where it's really important to keep your bow on top and get it high for the upstream, and then be right on line for the down coming out. So I think those are the two big moves. But as we've seen as well, the one underneath the bridge is another tricky spot with a down on the left to a down on the right with the bow getting caught by the eddy. So
from Brazil, let's see how he copes. I'm sure he's not coping very well with the weather.
He's getting slightly offline here. He's trying his best to get back online.
He's got a couple of touches there, and he's come in below gate 11, so he'll have to go around and down it. And this might make a difficult approach to the upright gate 12. Fortunately, that wave yesterday was very good at helping, but it's sloped a little bit from the right side to the left, so it's going the wrong direction to help the athletes today.
And as a course, are we expecting to have some consistency? I was watching the wave just below on 11 and 12, and it seems to move around a little bit.
There's definitely some shifting. Depending on how the water is swelling, you'll have better waves or not so good. So there's definitely a little bit of luck that comes into play. I think the move coming up here across the hole is one of the more consistent ones. So at least that one you can plan a little bit more for how it's going to react.
You need to get some speed coming across it.
A couple of different options. He's opted to go a little bit high and crash through the curl, whereas some athletes might come a little lower from the upright and try and just slide across the top part of that hole. But it looks like he's done a terrific job of coming through there.
I think importantly on the whole move we just saw him do is having a flat boat. You see coming over his boat had a bit of angle and he got a bit hooked up on it, but when he was crossing a left to right, he did it quite nicely with the flat boat. He's not on a terrible run. He had that mistake up the top, but it's good to see that he kept going. He had a bit of mental resilience.
Yeah, it's always tough after something goes wrong like that to get the boat back on track and forget about it and keep going at the bottom of your run. So I don't think he's too pleased with that section through the middle, but other than that, it was a solid run.
And talking about Jan Benzian, who had a bit of an injury on his hand yesterday. He was whacked his hand in a couple of places against one of the rocks, but keeps going.
I'm sure that won't stop Jan. He's probably one of the fittest, strongest, hardest working athletes on the circuit. I mean, he's not a spring chicken, but he certainly can, show the young boys how to do it.
Absolutely, yeah. He didn't have the best first run yesterday, but he pulled through in the second runs of qualifiers. A nice time.
And clearly he's going to Rio with the C2.
Yes. Yeah, no, he's a very, very good athlete. The German team's always one of the hardest, or either the German or the French is one of the hardest to make the team, make the Olympic spots. Of course, only one person from each country goes in each class to the Olympics. So it's always difficult, but Jan Benzine, he'd be one of the hot favourites, and I guess he pulled through.
He's done a good job coming into 18 nice and high.
See there, a nice flat boat, just bounced straight across onto the eddy line, carried a lot of speed. It makes life easy for yourself, because if you're stopping on those holes, you have to re-accelerate, and when you're at the bottom of a course, you're tired, you don't want to be re-accelerating, you just want to be able to carry your speed down the course and be on for a good run.
Exactly, and he did a great job in that last up left, driving the boat nice and deep and taking advantage of the quick water there to help boost him out.
But crucially, we've been saying only good things about him, but he's 5 seconds off the pace.
Yeah, I think the touch caught to him as well as the move just underneath the bridge where coming across the hole, he was a little low into the second downstream and ended up touching it and then killing a couple of seconds with his speed there.
Here we see Marco. He's really one to watch. Looking forward, he had a stellar performance at the 2015 Junior Worlds held in Brazil. Not on the same course where Rio is, but on one where I believe it had a Senior World Champs in 2005 or 2007. 2007, yeah.
And he's opted for the direct move there from 6 to 7. He's done it beautifully.
Yeah. No, he's quite a good paddler. And moving forward in the next couple of years as he starts to physically and mentally mature, I mean, who knows what he'll be able to do. Being a C1 in the Slovakian program is always, you're always off to a good start.
They're quite inspirational with the athletes going before.
Yes, for sure.
After a great top, he's had a little trouble there, just the middle section of this course. The touch, and kind of lost some time coming across into the upright. So this move's given some other athletes some issues, so we'll see how he gets through here. That looks like one of the better ones we've seen so far.
Yes.
Kept the boat running.
A little bit touch and go there, but he's held it together. As you see, he's got very long arms. So if he, as we'll see later, second to last off, Mate Benush, who has probably the longest arms and the strongest arms in the circuit, if he does get offline with one stroke, he can get back online. So
he's had another touch there. Might be a nice run, but I think those penalties will cost him.
Yeah, I'd agree. Wow, he had quite a fast flat time there, you see, but fortunately penalties caught up with him.
Liam now from Ireland. A few good paddlers coming through from Ireland.
Yes, no, indeed. Liam is really one of the true nice guys on the circuit. I think most people would agree. He's really lovely. He's always smiling, and I always see him running down supporting his fellow Irishmen. But it's quite good. They've got quite a good turnout here, I believe. Some Irish paddlers in nearly every class.
Again, going for the direct option here from 6 to 7.
He did that very nicely.
Yeah, he caught a really nice swell there, and the wave was great. Really pushed it just to the upstream.
One thing Liam does quite great, as you'll see, is that he controls the slide of the boat. The boat's very rarely sliding or is out of control. He nearly is always online. You see there, although, did a bogey.
Yeah, he's up to take another line, which we saw in the demos. And I think it's not necessarily a bad option. It gives you a nice approach into gate 12, so it'll be interesting to see what the other paddlers do and what ends up being a quicker line.
Yeah, I mean, the bogey is where you treat the downstream green gate, you treat the left-hand pole as an upstream, so you go down it and then you paddle up the eddy and end up entering the flow above the gate which you just went down. And it can be an effective move in a situation like that. Perhaps a slightly old school technique, but
yeah, definitely not something you see very often these days, but He's not quite half a second back, so it might have worked well for him.
And in the demos yesterday, there were quite a few of the athletes doing that winner.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a very quick eddy there, so it might be one of those spots where it works out quite well.
Leeming slightly offline here, getting it back on, not too bad, with a wee duck of the pole.
Yeah, managed to save
Jumping in, nice and high. Yes. We'll see what the judges say about that.
A little wobble right there, but I think he'll be coming down pretty close.
Yeah, we're definitely in touch.
Well, comes in just off the pace. So very tight at the top. We've now had 6 athletes gone, and the first 3 within 1.5 seconds. Leskov, again, another young, dynamic athlete from Slovenia here.
Yes, well, I remember I went to his home course in Tucson, in Ljubljana, in 2013, and I'm quite a young paddler, but I was an extra young paddler there, and I remember marvelling at the size of his bicep when he does a crossbow. It seemed that it sort of bounced across to the side of his body there that big.
He had some trouble up top. Looked like he hit his stern on the ground coming through the second gate. Fortunately, the bicep couldn't save him there.
Yeah.
So the water, we can't see the depth here. Is it shallow, or bits are really shallow?
Definitely there's some spots where you have to watch out for hitting your paddle. For the most part, this course is fairly deep, but there's some eddies and some areas at the top where it gets a little bit shallow.
So far, he's doing this middle section fairly nicely. He's online, pulling in the gates.
This is coming up to the bridge move here. Again, he's a paddler on the left, so seems to be a little easier for the lefties because they have that downstream stroke. They can pull themselves through 15, although he did get caught a little bit in the hole. I'm not sure that that's the ideal line. I think it's a little better to be just on the back.
A little bit out of control here. Hopefully he pulls it back into the up. Oh yes, that strong crossbow worked quite well for him.
Yeah, really nice through the double up there.
So far, out of the first 6 athletes through, we haven't seen many problems on the 17-18 double up, have we?
No, that's been a pretty consistent move, and again, I think that's because it's something that lots of people have trained leading up to the race, and again, it's a pretty consistent wave, so barring a large mistake, it's not necessarily a huge place where you can make up a ton of time or lose a ton of time unless you really miss it and come super low in the eddy.
Well, next to go is Sebastian Rossi, who doesn't always use his paddle.
Yeah, no, indeed. Was it the what race was that?
Was that Junior World or
I think yeah,
Brazil
under
as well?
23 Worlds.
Yeah.
I always like it when I see people when a run doesn't quite work out for them, but they don't give up. You know, they keep going. And what happened there? I forgot.
He actually
broke his
lost
paddle.
his paddle before he started.
Yeah, I think it snapped just above the blade. He dropped it, and in a showing of great sportsmanship, he kept up. And I think I'm not sure if he had any 50s or not. But
No, I think he got through clean.
Yeah,
And today he's 1.2 seconds up.
Yes, on a good run. Going for the bogey approach. It'll be interesting to see how that works out for the athletes in the long run, whether it's faster or not. But so far, working out pretty well.
From watching it yesterday, it certainly, if not faster, it seems like it's the less tiring of the two options. You can use the water a little bit more, and you don't have to fight it quite as much coming to the upstream. So it could be something that's beneficial towards the bottom part of this course. Oh, but he's got his bow caught there. Gate 15 had to spin, cutting off his speed.
Well, very much in touch.
Yes. No, Seb Rossi, a 2012 Olympian. I believe he's going to Rio this year too.
I believe so.
Yeah. There'll be some good preparation for him. The water is a bit bigger here than it is at Rio, but high pressure race nonetheless.
Yeah, and he's looking really smooth through this bottom section of the course. He just had that one wobble at gate 15, but other than that, it's a very solid run.
We have a new leader so far after 8 athletes down. John Ergen, 36 years old from Spain, is leading with 1:07.92.
I think we will. Oh,
Was it a 50 on and off? So it's a 2, but that could be expensive, however.
He made up a little time on the bottom, but yeah, like we saw, he was just a little bit behind after that bridge move, and I think that will have cost him.
But if you're just tuning in, it's not the final, it's the semi-final, so 30 athletes are going down, including Thomas Quinn from Great Britain. He was courtside yesterday, studying very carefully with all the others. Great to see him have a chance to be in the senior team here. He's been around for the last 2 or 3 years, not always had an opportunity. Let's see how he goes today.
Yeah, he's looking good at the top of this course.
And that's just a testament to the competitiveness of the British team. I remember 2015 season, 2014 season. I remember he made two World Cup finals, which many paddlers never make in their whole life. And then he struggles to get on the British team, so it's very tough.
It's a nice paddler to watch. We've seen so far in his run, he hasn't let his boat slow down. And he's the first one to try the direct option there.
And he's pulled that off nicely. He went down the eddy a bit, and it gave him a nicer exit onto the wave, just because he was a bit lower.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're surfing. You surf on the face of the wave. You don't surf on the on the flat bit of water in front of the wave. So him coming lower meant that he could surf across the face of the wave there.
It looked like he planned that spin there, and it, again, kept the boat running. Looked really good. Just a little bit back on the split, but like we saw, I think there's a little bit of time to be made up at the bottom.
If you've been wowed by the knowledge of water management, we're looking at Patrick Washer from New Zealand, who's talking us through with Spencer Pomeroy from Canada, who also has maths experience. So far it looks a good run.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the time stacks up.
107.92 is the leader.
I mean, he was in touch at the top split, potentially slightly slow at the middle, but he could pull it back.
Yeah, I think he's definitely close, but I think the bottom got away from him just a little bit.
I think he knows it there. You look at his face.
Only 10 athletes, unfortunately, going through who you have now very well-known Olympic medalist. It is Tassiadis, who has one of the shortest paddles.
Yes, he's got very long arms and very strong arms, and then has a short paddle. I'm not sure why. I think it's just to get his cadence up a bit, so he can, when he needs to do a stroke, he can do it easier, and it's more effective.
Another paddler who struggled in the first round of qualifiers yesterday. He came into a dive and hit his boat, got all turned around, but again, had a great second run. He's off to a nice start here. He's always a fun paddler to watch. He managed to be very creative on the water.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see this year if he can replicate his London magic at Rio, because he was very young. He was only 22 when he medalled. So, I mean, he's still got plenty of time left in it. He's got a whole another Olympic cycle if he chooses to.
Another athlete opted for the bogey move there. That was an interesting line. It looked like he bounced right into the hole and tried to kind of come through it rather than use the back of it. But fortunately, it didn't
as
work
we
with
see,
the
he got a 50 there just under the bridge. I thought he may have, and the judges seem to agree.
Well, that's one of the first big surprises of the day. I suppose the first favourite is out.
Yes, no, indeed, he's ranked top 10 in the world. He's a class act.
Yeah, I'm sure he won't be too pleased with that. That'll certainly be something that him and his coaches will look at and see if it's worth inquiring on. But it's a questionable one for him, wasn't it?
Let's see where the time, if that's anything interesting, just in case. Well, the time is interesting.
Yeah, well, if you can't say if, but if he didn't have the 50, it would have been 4 seconds up, which would be pushing the final, I assume. So it'll be interesting.
Yesterday we had a few hundred little school kids around. Today they hopefully have umbrellas, but certainly Denis Gago-Chenou from Marseille Club, representing France in the Olympics, was having his fair share of cheers, but didn't have easy runs yesterday.
No, this will be 2016 is his first time competing at the Olympics, as the Estonga family have tended to hog the Olympic spot for the previous sort of 20 odd years. But yes, actually, it will have been 20 years ago, Patrice Estonga, the brother to the famous Tony Estonga, medalled. And as we all know, Tony Estonga has got his fair share of medals too.
Well, he's looking local knowledge.
I would say he's had lots of practice on this course and he's putting it to good use.
Although you see he, in the last gate, he tried the bogey, but he wrapped it a bit tighter and got on the back of the wave, and he fell down the river a bit, which made it coming into the up a bit more challenging. So potentially cost himself a bit of time there.
Oh, hung up on the bow coming through there.
Touch there.
I was talking to Zach Loken from the US about that move, 14-15 yesterday, and he said not necessarily the hardest move, but it was going to be something he was thinking about And his opinion was that it was going to be tough to get through there clean, and I think so far we've seen that with a lot of the athletes having some issues with the pole there.
Oh,
Oh.
it's not going the way he wants it, is it?
No, he caught an edge there and almost flipped, it looked like.
So you
Got
have
his
to
head through the pole, so...
have head and boat, part of your boat at the same time.
Yes, so it'll be interesting to see. They haven't given him anything on it, so he might have gotten enough through there.
But it's
Even with those mistakes, a fairly fast time.
Yeah,
Yeah, very fast time. It'll be interesting to see if that holds up for him or not.
still a number of good boats to come down.
big,
but
giant. Matej Marinic, one of the, again, the largest chaps on the circuit. I think he was very good as a junior.
I do not know anyone who has a pedal as long as he does. It is huge.
Yeah, he's got tremendous reach. He puts it to good use.
From Croatia, as you can see on the back.
Little bobble in the second gate, but he's looking a little smoother now. Again, going for the direct option there. Pulled it off quite nicely.
He's making he has a touch, but he's making fairly nice work of this one.
Yeah, he's looking really smooth down this course, making it look easy.
Just not quite as easy as Denny Canoe did, unfortunately. 3.5 seconds down with the touch.
Oh, another touch there. And again, he kind of caught a bad surge on that wave. Slowed him down a little.
Still seems to be fairly on top of the run. It's not letting him get him down.
Well, he had no problems with 15.
Yeah, no, yeah, did that very nicely.
Yeah,
It was nice to see it. Would you agree?
I would say that was great.
And very much in touch with 4 penalties, but only 1.7
wow.
off.
I think he made a lot of time on Denny under the bridge there. So it'll be interesting to see what he does in the rest of the course.
Oh, and he's
Well,
not
this
going
is-
to go behind the hole there.
This is unconventional. Very unconventional. He's,
No, I think that was not to plan. I don't think he was hoping to have a little bit more turn before the hole there, and coming into it facing upstream, he really got caught, surfed around.
Oh, that's 5 seconds on, I guess.
Yeah, it's quite a powerful hole there, so if you're offline, it'll shift you.
Indeed.
No, I think he knows it.
Yeah, he looks a little
He did well actually to stay upright, didn't he? Going backwards down that hill. It's a fairly big drop.
Well, no, not what he wanted to see. Great start, but unfortunately all fell off a little bit.
Yes, no, yeah, unfortunately I think he knows it too.
So we're coming to you live from the side of the course in Po, just next to gate 11-12, although the conditions are not really good. We have a lovely little warm cabin here. Let's see how he's going. Oh,
just caught the bottom of the eddy. Had a little bobble.
Yeah, lost his balance a little bit there.
and Gregor Hedwig from Poland.
Is he the Olympic boat? I think he may be.
I'm not too sure.
I think a trademark of an Olympic athlete is that they have to have, due to Olympic regulations, I suppose, the branding of the boat much smaller, so they don't get any free advertising it. And as you'll see on his nose, he's got a Gala Sport in a much smaller font.
A little tight there. Good work through the hole. I think that was another
that's
well-executed move. They've set a lot of gates. Yesterday we had a number of dives, and again today there's a number of gates on eddy lines. They're just kind of in odd areas where it forces you to keep the bow light and really be on top of your game, or else you get caught by the water. That's what we saw there just above this drop here at gate 16. This bow is just a little bit caught. It really kills your speed when that happens.
He's going very nicely. Unfortunately, I see on the results screen, Jenny Canoe's been given a 50. So, of course, it's protestable, but we'll wait and see what happens there, because that was quite possibly a time for the finals.
We actually saw when he came down, didn't he? 15, 16 east. Came very, very closely through. Anyway, with 6 penalties, it's not looking very good for Gregor Hedwig.
So far it does seem to be a trend that fast runs being brought down by touches.
Anze Bergic from Slovenia. On his day, one of the most talented paddlers out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely, yeah, unquestionably. Very dynamic paddler. very rarely is he out of control, and I mean, as a result, he has a very good world ranking.
That was really smooth. Gate 4, in and out, nice and quickly. And I think a key will be just as long as he stays off the poles and keeps up a nice smooth run.
And we know his pedigree. He won he has won World Cups in the past.
He won 2 in a row in 2013.
Oh, well, there you go.
And Thatcher. And look, he's 1.3 up.
Yeah, he's off to a great start here.
Ooh.
On the left opting for the spin. He did a good job staying close to the inside pole there and getting pushed down, I think, by the current.
Yeah, I think he, being one of the best paddlers in the world, he realised he was offline. He realised the water was taking where he didn't want to go, and he pulled a bit harder and just got to the gate. And that's the really trademark of good paddlers.
Very nice move, 14-15 there. Oh, he's way up on the split, but unfortunately that's right before the touch is added. So
There you go.
a second and a half.
Yeah. He's got quite a bit of wiggle room there.
13 athletes gone, so 17 to go. Top 10 will make it through to the final in a couple of hours' time.
We've seen lots of touches, so you never want to count someone out, although
There's another big
one won't
touch.
help.
So, I mean, he is marginally down on the split now, but his bottom is not too bad, so he might be on par.
But those touches, would you say they're careless touches?
The one gate 16, I just not sure he lost his spatial awareness a little bit, I think, but it's hard to say.
Yeah, it's always tough at the bottom of the course. Yeah,
Well, there you go. He still made up, a good second and a half from that middle split, so it's still a fast bottom.
But Nays has left something out there.
you can see he's not too happy with the penalties.
Mikoljane
Hey.
from the Czech Republic, who has 2 victories to his name, one in 2010, one in 2016.
Yeah, he is one to watch. He dominated the Rail World Cup, the first World Cup this year. He won semis and pulled out an equally good run in the final and won finals.
That was really nice through 1, 2, 3. Great spin there. And it looks like he's got a nice wave coming into the upstream.
Yeah, so he's got a little bit stuck on the eddy line there, but he's got out in not too bad time. So he stacks up in the split. Yes, nearly 2 seconds down, but it's still clean. Who knows what can happen.
Always fun with C1s is seeing how paddlers paddling on different sides opt to do different moves.
There we see quite a dynamic use of the bogey with a sweep duck. Not sure if it was faster or not. He did get pushed up by the eddy current a bit, so it'll be interesting to see how it stacks up in the next split.
See the last couple boats do this move quite well. And again, another right-handed paddler going for the spin there. It might be a good option just to keep the boat running and make sure the bow doesn't get stuck.
Well, very much in touch so far. No one's really set the course alight yet. The top time was Ante Verchik with 4 seconds of penalties at 1:06, so he actually came down in 1 and 2 seconds.
I think it's a challenging course out there today. I think that the athletes may have been going for a slow and steady approach wins the race, just to try and get a solid run, assuming that their counterparts will mess up.
His bow just jumped on him as he came over the hole and bounced into the hole there. We'll have to push quite hard here at the bottom.
But not too long a sprint. As we saw last week, there was 15 metres too long for most athletes coming over the Canoe.
Once again, another paddler who, if they were clean, could have taken the lead.
Well, Adam Burgess, who on his day is very, very good, under 23 world champion from Great Britain.
No, I was fortunate enough to train with him quite a lot. He came to New Zealand for the summer of 2015 that went into 2016. He's really a very committed athlete, one with very specific coffee tastes. I know he boils his water and then he has a stopwatch, so it's exactly 83 degrees or something. He likes his coffee just so.
He managed to make a mess of the Great Britain van this week and was denied his coffee for a day and forced to drink nothing but instant coffee.
And
so
he was very bitter. I saw him that afternoon.
Yeah. However, I think if he has a great race this weekend, he might switch his rituals.
See, so far he looks encouraging.
Yeah, he had a little. It looked like he hit his stern just up at the top on one of the moves, but he's off to a good start.
He is a very precise paddler. I think it's in his nature with his coffee tastes, and he should be fairly good. So he's very accurate there. He's able to sit up, do a turn on the eddy line, which isn't easy.
You see him literally
Just
throwing his
ahead.
boat.
got slightly offline there. He would have hoped for a slightly faster run through there.
Still slightly ahead on the split, and it looks like he's doing a good job with the boat under control at the bottom here.
He's done well there.
Yeah, he lost a little speed, but he was very high, so I think it kind of compensated.
Just to hold it together, we do need someone to take on this course. It looks like Adam's doing really well.
Yeah, if he can stay clean for the last couple of gates, I think he'll be very pleased. It's a nice run he's put together so far.
Finalist last week, just missed out the week before.
I think, I think we'll be seeing a new leader.
Well done, Adam Burgess, coming over the line in a new reference time of 1:05. And
he's happy.
There we go, the crazy
There's
horse.
the crazy horse.
Some of his New Zealand counterparts.
Looks like Cameron Smedley saw that on the big screen. Gave him a chuckle before his run.
Cameron Smedley, another paddler who spent a bit of time in New Zealand. They call it a traincation, training on a vacation.
Yeah, I think they enjoy their time down there. So this is his third semifinal, the past 3 World Cups, so he's paddling quite well these days. He made a final last week, and he'll be looking to repeat that performance again here.
And he just pipped you to the Olympic spot.
He did. Yeah, he's paddling quite well these days, though, so I would agree that the better man won.
You accepted the
Absolutely.
with enormous grace. You were smiling almost straight away afterwards.
He's got my full support. I'd love to see him do well here and again at Rio. He's looking great on the top part of this course.
He's got fairly good boat speed. He's pulling hard. He should be onto a not too bad run. He's tight on the gates.
Wow, that was a nice exit from gate 12, although in gate 11 it looked like he was a little deep in the spin. We saw some of the athletes staying a little closer to the eddy line and having their speed kept up with the current, so that might be something.
Am I right in saying his mum's here to watch?
His mum is here to watch and perform physio for the team.
Oh, right.
Although that was not ideal right there.
You might need some physio after that. He got it wrapped up there.
Well, no, that's showing. There again, the split time from Adam Burgess was best by far.
Yeah, unfortunately, split down with his good friend Adam Burgess. Touch not helping.
Nice through gate 18.
Yeah, very nice through gate 18. One of the best yet, I believe.
And there, he's opted for the back, and he's done a really good job of keeping the boat moving and getting into place until.
I think he picked up another touch there.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. So far, we have had 16
one more.
gone, 14 to go. At the moment, the 10th place is at 1:11.
Not a bad run, but unfortunately, the touches towards the end will be the demise.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I think he knows that it wasn't what he needed. Zach Logan, talented paddler, trains in Charlotte.
Quite a young paddler too, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe he's.
It's not really. Is he 21?
Yeah, I think he's 21, 22. He might still be. I'm not sure if he's going to Poland to compete. I think he is.
Yeah,
well, he often travels with a family as well, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think his mom's here judging. He had a great race yesterday. Made it through in the first run.
You know, a paddler with pedigree. I remember watching in 2013 in Slovakia. He made the final at the Under-23 World Championships, and it's just his first year. He was 5 years younger than some of his counterparts he was competing against.
As we saw, 1.6 seconds off the pace of the first split.
A little low coming into 12, kind of lost some speed, but he did a nice spin over an 11 to get there.
Sounds like he has some good sport on the riverbank, helping him down.
Yeah, and that's I don't think we've seen quite as many people cheering the athletes on today as we did yesterday because of the negative weather, but he's got a team out there with him, and he's done a good job through 14-15.
The organisation's been very professional so far, hasn't it? It's quite a big setup here.
Very big.
Yeah, getting ready for the Worlds next year. They've done a terrific job with everything so far.
I guess that they needed it. They're having a case for a lot of athletes as they serve, as this is not only the Slalom World Cup but also the Downriver World Cup.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, lots of athletes around.
So far, putting together a good time.
Yeah, no, this will be competitive. This will be very competitive, with a touch even.
So Zach Logan is hypothetically in there.
Tired hands at the bottom of that course.
Here we see a paddler affectionately known as Pat, who won the World Cup here last year, so he's one to watch.
And also took a victory out, was it last week in the C2?
Yes. With Idian Leroux.
He's got a very high stroke rate.
You can just see he's dynamic, isn't he?
Very-
He's almost
yes.
a motor there.
Yeah, he's really just quick strokes, keeping the boat on track and keeping it moving really quickly through the top section of the course.
I was watching him doing some very challenging courses in training, and he made absolute mincemeat of them.
Just a little over half a second up on the split.
And where are they based here? Are they based here or are they based elsewhere?
I believe most French paddlers are based here, but I'm not sure actually.
Yeah, I believe that most of the team trains here. However, I've heard that there's a new course in the works outside of Paris, so it'll be interesting to see if they shift their training center to Paris or stay here.
It will be hard to top Po though. Po is a world-class course.
Built in 2008 and some involvement from the Estengues.
Mm.
And you can see that it's one of the few courses that turns from left to right in a big horseshoe shape, where a lot of the other courses go the other direction. And I think that might have had something to do with Tony being a paddler on the right.
I'm not complaining being on the right.
Neither am I.
We see it, with the touch even. If it wasn't for the touch, you would have been very much, on pace. But the bottom is still to come. It is tricky. Local knowledge may well help.
Yeah, and that the section through the hole there, he did a great job.
Oh, a downstream punt. That is, I don't see many of those.
What was that exactly?
So he's pedaling down the river. He got pushed up against the rocks, and he uses his paddle to push against the rocks to give him a burst
Wow,
of
it looks like
acceleration.
it's a really good time as well. He comes in 1.18 ahead of the others, but hasn't.
He looks fairly happy.
I think he would hope to have a clean run there, but I think that was still a fantastic run.
I suspect that will be good enough for
Lucas ran from the Czech Republic next to go. So we're now at the halfway mark, and no one is yet under 100 seconds.
No, it'll be interesting to see. There's still some of the world's very best paddlers to come. I believe someone may well, push the boundaries. If not Lucas Rohan, he's a very, he's a young paddler, and making the Czech C1 team, or doing any Czech team actually, is not easy. So far, not too bad. Oh no.
50 on and off there. Looks like he's just a little bit behind on the split at the
2
top.
seconds.
I think it's important to be competitive. A little hiccup there in 9.
Although Pierre was very fast at the top, so.
Yeah, so I think we'll see lots of people be a little bit behind that, but I think the top section's a place where we'll see lots of close times as well, because it's so fast. If you're online there, it should be pretty tight for the racing, and then the bottom will be a little bit more open, I think, in terms of splits. Really nice job there. Again, we've seen the paddlers on the left do that move really nicely, being able to have the downstream stroke and just turn the bow down.
If he does the bottom well, or the commentator's curse there, he could well, be on for the final.
Yeah, it looked like he just had a little bit too much edge coming from 17 to 18, and the fast water just pushed him out a little as he was coming over the edge of the hole.
So far, he's done that stagger very nicely.
Time to meet is 1:03 reference. The 10th time is 1:09.
He had a very fast up at 22, but it was a bit touch and go.
And again on 23, it was just a little bit on the inside, had to duck it.
Well, moves into provisional.
Yes.
They've given him a 50 on that.
Bottom place. So halfway through, and who do we have now? Takura Haneda, as we know, he's from Japan, spent a lot of time in Slovakia.
Very fun paddler to watch as well. Again, training with the Slovakians in Bratislava. He's used to big water, and I think he'll be looking to do well on a course like this.
He is one paddler who has fully committed to the sport. I think he was 15 or 16, and he moved to, Japanese course, and he moved to Liptovsky Mikuláš. Didn't speak a word of Slovakian, and he would carry around a Japanese to Slovakian book and would attempt to ask people questions. But I know one instance when he ended up asking where's the toilet, and that was not what he intended. So far, very good though.
Yeah, he did a great job with the bogey there. Again, I think it's not a bad option, especially for paddlers on the right. Come in nice and tight and take advantage of that the onside upstream. A little tight on the spin, but he's managed to pull it off quite nicely.
think, yeah, there you go.
Second up on the
Second
split.
up on the split. And if he does the bottom quickly, could well
We'll see,
be a
just
leading
slightly
one.
off, isn't it?
Just got a touch out on there as well.
This move here on the cross is difficult. You have to get across and turn down so you get the next skate, of course.
Oh, you got a little hung up in the hole. The problem, that move there, it's a little offset, so you really need to just commit and trust that the hole is going to shift the boat over a meter and put you right in the middle of the next gate. It looked like you overcompensated a little and got pulled a little bit too far.
Sounds so easy.
In theory.
Well, it was a shame about the 2-second penalty. Let's see where he ends up in 4th place at the moment with 9 athletes to go, and they're pretty much all either local knowledge or big hitters. Franz Anton, we saw his buddy go down about 20 minutes ago, Jan Bentien, who won't be making the final. Let's see how Franz the photographer goes.
He's always quite an energetic, lively little paddler, as we're seeing so far.
Yeah, he did a nice job using his edges through 2-3 there to take advantage of being able to paddle onside, which is always nice. Crossbow tends to not have quite as much power as the onside stroke, so whenever the paddlers can stay to their natural side, they will certainly try to.
Done nothing wrong, but a second down.
So far, oh, this will be tight. Yeah, oh no, he's pulled it back. Could be on for a good run, you know, he can easily pull a second here and there.
Yeah, and we've seen the bottom is a place that if you have a nice smooth run through there, you can certainly save some time.
He looks very much in control.
He's done that very nicely. One of the best yet by the righties, I think.
I think so, yeah, going direct. Again, he got his bow caught a little bit, but it didn't look to slow him down very much. He's sliding a little through this section.
Be a bit, oh no, thought he might have been a bit low, but he's done well.
Just avoids the gate.
This is the point in the course where fatigue definitely sets in. You're still trying to pull as hard as you can, so it's imperative to stay on line.
He demonstrated very good boat control on that last stagger, staying on his onside, but not getting offline, which can be difficult when you only pedal on one side of the boat.
Well, we could see a new leader here.
Yeah,
It's certainly going to be very close. Franz Anton from Germany, 8 competitors to go. Will this be enough to move him into the final 3rd rank? So we'll have to see how that pans out. So far, we do have Pierre-Antoine Thia, Adam Burgess, who have qualified. Anyone else messes up, and Franz Anton will be sitting there to qualify. Next to go is that Martin Thomas?
Yep, indeed. I think if he can stay online for a whole run, it will be very spectacular. Because when he stays online, I believe he has a style resembling Martin in a certain way. Very smooth, very controlled. However, when he does get offline, it can be difficult for him to get back online.
We saw him with a very strong offside up.
See, there you go. He's online, doing well.
Yeah, he does a good job keeping his speed up. Very strong through that shifty flat section of the course.
Nice spin. Put the wave good. Carrying his speed nicely, saving his energy from the bottom, which is where they need it.
The lefties have had a bit of an advantage here, coming under the bridge with the downstream stroke. With his local knowledge, I think we might see a nice move right here.
Ooh.
Oh, a little caught by that hole in the
Oh!
eddy.
Not sure what that was, but he seemed to do an alright job of it. There you go, even with the touch. Still not too far down.
Yeah, he'll be looking for a quick bottom to make up for the little fumble under the bridge. Again, he got a little too much edge there and turned up in the hole.
It's amazing that he must have seen this course 1,000 times.
Yeah, and I would imagine he's tried a number of these moves before, but you know, the pressure, getting tired towards the bottom, and it's always tough once you get offline in one area to maintain your initial plan. If something gets thrown off, it's a lot of mental work to get back to where you want to be.
Well, I think you called it correctly, Patrick. You said if he's on form, he's fast. If he's not, it all goes wrong.
Although he came to New Zealand 5 or 6 years ago, and he is going from strength to strength. So give him another couple of years, and you know, he'll be properly world class.
Well, not today. Who's next to go? And Elisegi, who good to watch.
Yes, no, he's a bit of a household name, really, especially when there's a race in Spain. Like all the Spanish, they're very good on sail.
Making that top
And,
move look
yeah.
effortless.
No, very good. I think this top section is a bit faster on the right. But, I mean, there's always some world-class lefties out there.
Yeah, we've seen some of the lefties go direct coming into the upstream on the left there.
There you go.
And I think that's the quick way, but I think you're right. If you're going for the spin option, the righties definitely have a bit of an advantage there.
Very much on pace with the leader. If he can pull it together for the rest of keep it together for the rest of the run, who knows?
Because when it goes wrong, it really goes wrong, doesn't it?
As we've seen, yes.
And it's very hard, although we are looking Andrew Elisegi is, ranked 13th in the world, so he's no spring chicken to the game. He's been around for a long time, but it's very hard still when things go wrong to not let them get you down, and keep your chin up and keep going.
Oh, he's having some troubles there. He caught on the eddy line, really slowed him down, kept him to the left. So unfortunately, it's given him not the best approach into gate 17.
He has recently changed the type of boat he uses. In C1, there's predominantly two boats. You have wider boats, which are flatter and more balanced, and these skinny boats, which Anders is sporting at the moment, and they're just a bit different, really, aren't they? And they are more tippy, and you see when he was on the eddy line, perhaps if he'd had a flatter boat, he may have just been able to turn and pull off it, but he's changed this season. I was slightly surprised that he's chosen it, and I think he's just still getting used to it a bit.
Well, no, he's not going to make the final.
He is, as you've seen, a bit fiery at times. Although, it just means he's passionate about sport.
Slavkovsky won last week. Again, another one of the top names the last decade.
Slavkovsky is, being a Slovakian C1 is just really rough, because he has been in the ranked top 5 in the world for many, many years and never been to an Olympics.
Yeah, it's a very tight field in the country there. And I think that's one of the reasons they produce such good paddlers. It's, if you can make it in Slovakia, then you can make it internationally. So
yes. No, I remember at a point last year, only one boat from each country can go to the Olympics, and there were 3 Slovakian C1s ranked in the top 5 in the world. So it's very hard.
And we're going to see Mate Benesh going in about 10 minutes' time. Martin not here today. He may be going to Prague at the end of the season.
All right.
They're trying to have an extra place in the World Cups next year. So that's from last week.
interesting to see where he comes up on the split. He got a fairly nice top section. He's kept the boat clean and moving very well through here.
He is a older, more experienced paddler, so I would back 2 seconds upstroke. I would back him to be able to hold this run together, have a bit of mental composure.
So he's one of the.
Then again, just as I said, that he touched the gate, so he's lost that lead.
But he seems to very much use the water. He doesn't fight.
Yeah, absolutely. He makes it look pretty effortless, and I think that's one of his strengths. If you can use the water, you make it a lot easier on yourself.
I certainly want to watch this, no question about that.
So coming to you live from the course side in Pau in the southwest of France. And it's Alexander Slavkovsky with 5 athletes to go in the semi-final of the C1. But that's enough to go into first place and fairly.
That will be a very respectable run. Definitely.
Yeah.
Didn't even break sweat, did he?
And it looked like it was a couple seconds faster on the bottom because he cancelled out his nice split on the top with that touch and picked it up again at the bottom. So I think he'll be very pleased with a run like that.
He will be in the final.
Well, that's a certainty. So far confirmed is Slavkovsky, Tia, Burgess, Anton and Burchik, with Haneda sweating it out at the moment.
Burgess will be very rapt for that. 2 finals back to back. I'm sure we'll have to take a celebratory coffee, providing he can get his water to the right temperature. Here we go, in touch, 1.6 down. He can easily make that up. Thomas Strackers, I quite like watching him. He's very strong and slightly erratic style, but it's quite good to watch to see when things do start going wrong. If anyone can pull it back, I think Thomas Rack can. Yeah. Very strong strokes.
He was a little high into the dive on the left there, but like you said, he pulled it together. Didn't look like he lost much time. Gonna go for the spin option here.
Done it nicely.
Looks like he's me a little bit behind, but not by much. Just over a second.
Getting a bit caught up on the waves there. It will have cost him a bit of time. It also costs you a nice fast entry into 17, so it's not just that you have a slow spot there, it has a flow-on effect. And he's tight on that, done it nicely. A bit late there, but he's made it work.
Yeah, he got hung up in the hole, and I think that slowed him down a little as well. Again, he just kind of used it a little too much, and it pushed him a bit far, so he was fighting it to get back on track. Nice through the finish there, but he'll have to push to finish in a good time.
Well, only 4 athletes left to go. Where's he going to come in? No, just outside.
I think he's slightly disappointed with that run.
Not surprising if you one of the fastest in the heat. Nicolas Peschier, not like Sikorsky, who deals with the water, he orders the water around, doesn't he?
Absolutely. He's got a very high stroke rate. He's a very strong paddler. He's definitely a fun one to watch, especially on this course.
Slightly, it's not really a stereotypical French paddler, but it's most certainly effective. He's brought out he's made himself a new boat, I believe, this season. So
yeah, the Magnum. He's taking advantage of the rapid wing, which is a little extra volume right behind the seat. He
was a very good C2 paddler too, but his partner has decided to call it a day. He's actually going to coach in New Zealand, so it'll be good. We'll love to have him.
And Pierre Laborel has been active in the last couple of days, interviewing everyone who sits still for more than 2 minutes.
Yes, I got sprung on once, so I managed to escape. He's done that very nicely.
Yeah, he's got a great knowledge of this course, and it looks like he's off to a good run here.
We do see him. I don't know if he still does, but he did used to swap. He used to swap the sides. So he's currently paddling on the right, but he would swap his paddle and his hand arrangement, so he's paddling on the left. But I don't think he
haven't
does
seen
it
so much of that lately. No.
No, I think he's because it can be quite effective in certain circumstances where on the crossbow it's just
that
too
was
difficult.
really nice through 18.
So putting forward a really good run.
Yeah, it looks like he's flying through the bottom section of this course.
So what's the bit about
another one punting off the rock?
Just
there.
behind his seat? What's the design
it's
feature?
a little extra volume, so it's designed to help push the boat out for turns just like that. Just gives you a little bit more pop when you put the stern under the water. It shoots it out a little quicker and gives you a bit more forward momentum.
Well, let's all buy one because it certainly works.
Yeah,
Safely into the final there.
he's happy.
3 athletes to go, and Thomas Coquelin has performed. I was asking why he's performing so well. By the way, he's coming in to do the C2 commentary on tomorrow now, and he just says, well,
You'll have to tune in. I personally endorse him. He's a great fellow with good chat.
good results so far this year. Podiumed in Ivrea, made a final, I believe, was it last week?
Oh, gee.
Knows this course really well.
He dropped his edge a bit there, hoping for a quick turn, but unfortunately he wasn't in the eddy enough. So as the edge hit the eddy, he just stopped right on the pole, but he did very well to not touch it.
Yeah, he got a little bounced out, but managed to save
Still-
it.
Well, look, the fastest so
Second up.
far.
That's incredible.
Sometimes when you have a hiccup like that just at the top, it really forces you to push that much harder to make up that time. So I think
Yeah,
it's-
certainly. And if you can hold those runs together, they are some of the most spectacular.
Yeah,
A power packer.
yeah, very strong, powerful strokes.
Trains in Geneva now, quite a bit of time.
All right.
Well, just Animas just over the water.
Yeah, nice spin. He does have very good control of his boat, control of his edges. His turns are very slick and smooth.
And 1.5 seconds up on a quality field.
Slightly low into the up 17, but I don't think it cost him.
Every time he makes a mistake, he goes faster.
Yeah.
Well, it's his to lose. It's the semi-final, so we're talking about qualifications, first 10 to go through to the final. But so far, he looks like he's putting down
He doesn't touch the last 2 gates.
the top run, maybe.
Or lost a
little
bit
low
of
there,
time
but-
there.
This is edge of your seat paddling, isn't it, really?
It is. It looks like he's had a few close calls, but he's always managed to keep it back and keep it together. So it may not be going according to plan, but it's certainly going well.
He's well. He's good run.
Well, there you go.
Bit of a frantic run, but a fast run
Yeah.
nonetheless.
Mate
Here we
Benesh,
go.
Olympian, and arguably the top paddler last season.
Oh, well, he did win the World Cup. Didn't he, am I correct in saying?
Yes, he won the overall standings.
Yeah, which, I mean, that's pretty good. I think he made every final, bar one where his pedals snapped for him in the semi. I mean, he's a class act.
Takuya Haneda has qualified for the final.
Benush was the winner in qualifications last week and didn't have a great run in the semi-final, so I think he'll be looking for an improvement on his result.
They did make it through. Well, look at that, 1.5 seconds up already.
Big, tall paddler, lots of reach, so it may not look like he's going quite as hard as paddlers like Pesce with a high stroke rate, but with those big, long, powerful strokes, he gets lots of speed.
When you see him walking around, he looks like even 2 days before he's in the zone.
Yeah.
You dare go and talk to him.
He's off to a nice run here. Good top section.
That's very good. He kept the boat dry there, kept the speed on it. So of course, if your boat catches the water, you don't jump over things. No, that's just losing time.
Well, 1.78 up so far.
He does a great job keeping his bow.
That was very good. He will. Yeah, that was good. That up. Again, I think this is a fairly competitive run.
We've lost him.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's happening.
Luckily, he was in control.
Yeah.
But I think there's 12, 13 cameras that do a remarkable job here, so let's give them credit for that. In not easy conditions.
No, definitely not.
But he's coming home, he's slowing up.
He's.
This is.
I don't want to win by too much.
Yeah, no, only 4 seconds.
4 seconds and he
That's
floated
incredible.
through the finish line there.
He could have been 6 up, couldn't he?
I
think so.
I have seen him do that before. It's slight arrogance.
I wonder if he took a taxi when the camera was off. Benny Savchek again, very, very fast. Was a little bit inconsistent, and last year really seemed to sort it out.
Yeah, no, if Savchek has a good run, he may well beat Benush.
And this is what we saw yesterday. We saw Benush with a great run in qualifiers, and then Savchek came down and bettered him. So
yeah, picked up a touch there. Hopefully he can hold it together because he is one of the truly world-class people.
Well, everyone's hoping he's going to do well, apart from the Loken family.
Yeah,
because Zach's on 10th place at the moment.
Wait and see.
ooh, he's 4 seconds back there in the split. Although that's still reasonably quick time, because our last competitor won.
As we saw with predicting whether anyone would go under 100 seconds, and Mate Benush nearly went under 90, well, under 98 seconds he went.
Savchek, as you may think, he's picked up two touches, so anyone would be working harder, and you may think he's not, but he really is just that smooth and efficient that he doesn't look like he's working hard, but he really is moving a fair rate of knots.
Although he had a little issue after 15 there, he kind of had to turn twice and didn't get as far over as he would hope. It looks like he's still a little offline.
Well, look, don't worry though. He's 6 off, but he'd actually go through with 9.5 seconds off.
Or we'll leave that to the judges,
but
that may come up. Well, yeah, that may well be the 50, or be getting close to it. Hopefully he keeps his head up.
It's just not gone right, is it?
No.
But crucially, he has 9.5 seconds to play with, and he's probably about 10 down so far. It's not happening.
No, and I think he knows it here. He looks a little defeated coming through the finish.
And a 50 given. Well, we do have USA Zach Loken is in the final.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
first
I'm sure
final?
he'll be thrilled about that.
Is this his first final? First World Cup final?
Oh, that's a good question. It may be.
I think it is.
Well, I can't see any appeals open, so I guess we'll have the official decision soon, but it does mean that we have a cracking final with some champions and some hopes.
And some young talent.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, so far, weather's very wet, but the wind's staying off, which is crucially important.
Our cameraman is still out there doing well, so
they do all season. They never complain.
Yeah.
And they're out from 9 in the morning until late at night. Look at the qualifications of the classifications. This is the reverse order. They're going to go into the final in about an hour and a half's time. So you can see for yourself Benush, Slavkovsky, Coquelin, Tia, Pesce, Burgess, Anton Bergic, Haneda and Loken.
It is very rare that you have a 4-second gap between first and second.
And he was controlling it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he didn't want to give away what he could really throw down.
And these are the just not quite good enough on the day, with some big clients there, big
Yes,
athletes.
for sure.
David Florence not competing this weekend. I think, like a lot of athletes, they had a week's day off because they're going back to Rio very often.
Yeah, I believe there's a training camp for a couple of weeks coming up shortly for a number of athletes down there.
Well, the French are off soon, and now on Tuesday the Slovaks and the Czechs, they fly out. They didn't actually know the other team was flying out.
The Austrian boys who are in the semi-final, or Mario Leitner is, he's leaving on Tuesday.
Yeah.
He leaves on Tuesday, is away for 3 weeks or so, gets back, has 1 day, and then heads to under 23 World Championships, all while managing school as well.
Living the dream.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So we're going to continue where we are. We've seen the C1. There's Jazz getting ready for her run. Seen the C1 men, and I'd appreciate if you both stay with me for the C1 women.
Absolutely.
Love to have the time. So this is going to be a testing course. If you look at some of the athletes have to go, we have 2 foxes going off next to each other. Nuria Villarubla, who won by 6 seconds last weekend, double silver medalist in the Worlds, Mallory Franklin going, and some French local knowledge. So it's going to be interesting stuff. Just in between, your weekends, how was your weekend? By definition, it wasn't perfect.
Oh yeah, no, but first time at Post, so I had 4 sessions to get used to the course. I learned a lot. I performed fairly well in my first run, but unfortunately, if you don't make the cut, first runs don't count for a lot.
So Patrick Wash from New Zealand. So when you first come here, presumably you've watched a little bit of footage. So
yes.
Was it similar to your expectations?
I watched a lot of the semi-final that was held here last year, actually, and it was. Well, I expected some of the holes to react as they do when people, negotiate them, but it's still, you can never get that 3-dimensional perspective when you're watching the screen, so it was still quite different and a big learning curve coming here.
And Spencer, when you and your prime, has this been built or not?
No, I was retiring just as this course was getting up and running. I think the year after I slowed down, the Canadian team started coming and training here a little bit more and more. So again, my first time here was this week, but it's a fun course to paddle, and I think it's...
The top's very fun, isn't it?
Yeah, the top, it's kind of like 2 different courses. The top doesn't have very many holes. It's lots of little waves and very quick, whereas the bottom has a few more bigger drops and more features.
It's a bit sloppier.
So it's kind of a fun mix. Definitely a nice place to paddle.
Indeed.
So as you athletes coming on, how much physical time do you have on this course before you first race?
There was a week of training where we'd have 3 days we had an hour training slot, and 1 day we had a half hour. So not too much. I mean, both of us were just here for the first time, so we maybe didn't get as much training as a number of the other athletes who've been here in the past for training camps. But I think you don't need a ton to get used to it. Just a little bit, get on the water, and figure some things out.
This is the start list, so there's going to be 20 athletes starting off. 10 will make it through to the final, and these are the athletes who've already negotiated themselves at least once down the course, so they know what's in store. As I mentioned a couple of minutes ago, there was some starting to be household names now in the top 10. There's not much of a mix so far. There seems to be 8 to 10 athletes who are very strong, who pretty much always make it to the final.
Yes.
Yeah, it's still a new category, and I think that we'll see as it goes forward in the future that list will change a little bit. But for now, there's certainly a few girls who've really solidified their spot in the top.
Wei-Han Chen from Chinese Taipei, first to go down. I need to stress this is the semi-final, and it's exactly the same course as we saw with the men a few minutes ago. This is the first time these athletes have actually been on this physical layout.
She went for the spinning gate too. Tactical approach. She drifted a bit low, but she made a nice job of it into the up. Oh no, but she got the gate.
Quick roll there.
It's almost freestyle.
Almost had her head dry, and they've given it to her just with the touch. Although she still will have missed the other gate.
Yes, unfortunately.
Gate 6 on the right.
Oh, she took it on the nose and still going strong. So,
just a couple of words about the clear switching, which is a different technique for the women.
Yeah, we see it a little bit more with the women's category, although some of the men do opt for it. But I think that because a lot of them come from paddle and kayak and switch to C1 they're a little more natural paddling on both sides, whereas someone who paddles only C1 right from the beginning gets used to one side. So you see it a lot more. The women will switch sides, and it gives them a bit of an advantage because they can always have the paddle on the easier side for the gate.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. There you go. She's got into a few spots of bother here, but she's cleaned it up nicely and is carrying on with her run. Of course, she has a 50 and a touch from up above, but she hasn't let her, get her down. She's still trying her best, which is good to see.
She looked like she had a little bit too much angle to the left through 14. It's one of those moves where you need to be a little aggressive, kind of cut it, put the bow right on top of the hole, and take advantage of what the water's doing there.
We see coming into the business end of the course, in my opinion. She's doing a spin to prepare herself, make sure that she gets across into gate 17.
Says, often commentators say you can't win the course on the top, but you can lose it. Whereas this is the bottom section where you certainly need to.
Everyone is. The top is, although it's fun, it's a bit simple really. Everyone is. We're watching the semi-final here. This is the best 30 at the race and more or less in the world. So I mean, everyone's fast up the top. But down the bottom, where, as you see, she's negotiating these holes with a fair bit of prowess, but it is difficult, and that's where the race is really won or lost, I believe.
So it's a mixture of talent and energy.
Yes.
Certainly comes into a factor, yeah.
Well, as they go every 1 minute and a half, we need to unfortunately cut the ends off, unless that's the way it is. It's a difficult course, and it's Simona Gutykova from Slovakia.
Having a little trouble with the pole there.
A very young paddler. She'll be one to watch in the future. It's good to see that she's competing on these challenging World Cup courses.
Yeah, and it's certainly not the easiest course on a river that's quite powerful. It takes a lot of work to get around, especially the bottom part of the river here.
So it's an artificial course that looks real.
Exactly. Yeah, they've done a really nice job here, using big boulders instead. Some courses will use the rapid blocks, big hard plastic blocks to make the features, but I think here they've opted to make it look a little bit more natural. And it's definitely a nice look.
There you go. She's just in the lead with 70 seconds out. Thankfully,
Well,
she doesn't have a 50 yet.
Only just 17 years old, as you mentioned. She's
Oh, there you go.
young.
Doing a good job there. Use the hole. She's got bounced down by the boil line. It's a little low in the up.
She's done this. No, that's good. She's done that very nicely. Some of the kayaks, some of the C1 men need to take note of that.
Yeah, that was a really well executed part of the bottom.
This is a fairly solid run for her. I think she should be happy. Only just 17 years old.
And only one touch. I think we saw with the C1 men that you can still make finals with touches. So
Yep.
I wouldn't say that puts her out.
No, yeah, that's a good run moving forward.
Well done.
She should be happy.
So I think what it proves here is you don't have to fight the water, do you? You're in a boat that floats. You just need to put it in the right place.
Absolutely.
And Ali Boré is a warrior who's been on the scene now many, many years, who won't be happy with the start.
Oh yes, no, she's having to go back around for that gate. Unfortunately, she let go of her paddle, as you saw, and with the eddy current that flows up the edge of the eddy against the wall, she just got carried up around it, and that's not where the gate was. So.
Plenty of experience now.
There she's opted to switch, come through this middle section.
Oh, tight. It's worked out for her though. She's done well. The stagger so far looking pretty good for her.
She going for the spin move there.
We saw that wave fluctuating quite a lot, so sometimes it looks like a clear pathway, others it doesn't.
Absolutely, it really comes and goes. I mean, sometimes it's a nice track right to the gate. Other times it's just kind of flat.
So you actually how it happens? You actually arrive to the point and you get, okay, I have to do this or this.
For the most part, I think paddlers will make their plan before, and if you get lucky and it helps, it helps. But I think you have to plan for the worst case.
Yeah. I think if the wave isn't there, it just means that you have to react and work a bit harder and make it work. She's going pretty well. She's done very nicely under the bridge. If she can hold the bottom together, who knows?
Well, it's exceptionally well, as she's pretty much lost 8 to 10 seconds right at the top, so effectively she's putting together really well. Ali Bowers from Australia, whose brother's going to the Olympics.
Yes, fellow C1 paddler, but competes in the men's category, of course. I'm sure You know, if he may have given her his 2 cents.
Did a good job there using the hole to shift her just to the side.
I think she may have just picked up a touch.
And again, she's lost grip of her T grip there.
She did pretty well though, there to, you know, stay balanced while changing, you know, swapping the pedal.
And do you feel a sort of family affinity both coming from the Southern Hemisphere?
Oh, yeah, we definitely have our similarities. But yeah, no, it's good.
A couple little hiccups at the top, so I think she might be a little upset with that. It's hard to have a nice run after you get off to some trouble right at the beginning.
So for Andorra, it's Monica Dora Wilolba.
I believe she's 16. She's very young, but don't quote me on that. But she has got quite a nice feeling for the boat and for the water, and so far doing not too badly. Unfortunately, has picked up 2 touches, but she can easily claw back that time with a good bit of elbow grease.
Getting a little slowed up by the hole there. Although it's one of those sections where it's hard, you want to have a bit of speed. You also want to have the boat under control for this coming through the hole. She's gone to below 15, so she'll have to loop around, but it'll set her up nicely for 16.
And also going in the K1, so have plenty of exposure to the water this year. As you correctly say, she's 16 and a half years old and so far up.
Yeah, no, two touches and still nearly a second up, so going well so far. Although Simona did have a very good bottom, so be interesting. Yeah, lost a bit of time there, so it'll be interesting to see how that stacks up.
Yeah, she did get hung up on the hole a little, didn't she?
Oh, that's tight. She's done well though. Stay upright.
Stay upright, stay on line.
As we saw, some of the C1 men struggled with that hole.
She's a little low into 22, but she's fighting through it.
Yeah, not a bad run, all in all.
Where's she going to go? Into second place. Difficult to see the emotion. Also, as they're going in the K1.
Face. Here we go. This pedal is one to watch.
And Lethcano, who picked up a medal last weekend.
Yeah. In C1 women, there the British, the Spanish, the French, and the Australians are all very good at C1 women. So if any of those countries are on, they're definitely one to watch. There you go. Reacting well. Getting to the gate.
Nice spin there.
Working hard.
She's really attacking this course.
Yeah, she is, and as a result, nicely into 12.
And of course, that's Cécile Tixier. Yeah, slight challenge with the graphics there.
So she's not opting to switch. It looks like she's going mainly paddling on the left with some offside strokes when she needs them.
And Cecile's actually from about a few kilometres downstream from here, so she's obviously a well experienced, been on the scene for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, and lots of practice on this course will certainly pay off.
Certainly. Slightly hesitant there, but make
Well,
it
4 seconds up, look.
Yeah, it's clearly working well for her.
And this is probably a move that she's practiced a number of times, so she'll be looking to get in tight to the up left here. Oh,
on her crossbow.
She shifted down a little there. I think trying to get over the edge.
Thankfully, she has a bit of wiggle room, you know, with that 4.5 second buffer. Nicely through there. Getting back for the next game. And just one up and charge to the finish.
Yeah, she's putting together not a bad run here. Looking pretty solid.
Well, it'd be a must that she reaches the final.
One touch. She's done pretty well so far. She's had more or less not a bad run.
Goes into second place. Is it going to be enough? We've now had 5 athletes gone and 15 to go. And this is who we're talking about, Mira Lethcano, who won the bronze medal last weekend, or medal last weekend. Silver, wasn't it?
I think so. Yeah, I think silver.
Villarublo won the gold, and Young Fox won the bronze.
And I believe she'd been in the wars a bit. Did she roll over and hit her head or something. She had a black eye in there. I think she did in training. Saw her walking around. It looked quite sore.
Well, she's having a good top half here, it looks like. Clean so far. Boat's on track and running nicely. This looks like one of the best ones we've seen through there. Nice spin.
Opting for the spin again. 12 seconds. Wow.
Yeah, she's doing a great job here on this course. Very tough, demanding course. And she's been keeping the boat right where she wants it.
Switching at all the good times, making life easy for yourself, which in a run is, kind of what you want to do.
Really well at gate 18 there.
She's very much online. And, picking up a touch. But
Touch there. It's a challenging. She switched right as she was coming over the hole. It's always a tough spot, but she did a good job keeping the boat flat. Unfortunately, she just got a little bounced out of the line and into the
Well, it
pole.
looks like we certainly have a new leader. So what's the actual rule on the height of the post above the water? Is it 25 centimetres? Here they look to be about 40 centimetres.
I think it's 20, 25 centimetres.
Well,
And unfortunately though, in Po there is, it's hard to tell on the screen, but when you're paddling, it does surge a bit, and that the water, the river height changes. So they have to have it so that when it's surging at its peak, it is 20 centimetres. But then of course when it's surges down, it can be much more.
40 centimetres.
Yeah.
So another French paddler. It's Lucy Priot.
Doing well so far. Second half up.
Second of 4 to go.
Looking quite smooth through there. Great bogey. Good reach coming across.
She's opting for to not switch.
Yeah,
so far.
It's the second French paddler we've seen doing that.
Crossbows are quite effective too. She's got a good little paddler.
Good use of the hole there.
Doing that very nicely.
Yeah.
First one, direct. That's very good.
Yeah, she had a great line coming in. Kept the bow just on top, but used the water pushing back upstream to keep her right where she wanted to be.
So 3 seconds up as we speak, and she's playing her own games, and she's doing her own thing.
Yes, that's always the thing. Particularly if you were in the semi and you were as, Mate Benish was before, you're last off, you know what everyone's done, and that can be mentally challenging sometimes.
Kind of nice to see what they've done though, where they've had some issues, and you can tailor your plan a little.
Yes.
And that clearly comes into effect for the finals, where everyone knows the quickest move.
She's having a great run here. Little bobble on 23 there. Got caught, I think, by the eddy line, but I think she'll have a nice quick time here and clean.
Yeah, look at that. That's now nearly 4 seconds into the lead.
Yeah, she looks pleased with
Lucy,
that one.
second of 4 from France.
I think that may well be a run for the finals. We see another French paddler.
Laurie Navarro.
Strong showing here from the French.
And there, she's got a great surge. That wave just kind of built up behind her, pushed her right into the upstream. She took advantage of it. I'm sure she'll be happy with that.
Unfortunately, slightly down on the split, even with that good upstream.
Well done there with the bogey.
Nicely done. Seems like the C1M just going from strength to strength.
So she's opting to switch here to the left. We've seen the paddlers on the left have had a bit easier time making the turn, but she's got she missed the hole there and she's coming a little low.
But thankfully, as she was on the left, you see she lost her nose, but she was able to quite easily and efficiently push it back up and get back to the gate, without losing too much time.
And it looked like she wanted to go direct there, but had some bad luck, and the eddy line caught her nose, swung it back upstream. So quick thinking, and she went for the spin option. It was in nice and high in 17.
10 seconds down, but not a bad run so far.
Crucially, they only need 2 seconds of penalties. It's just come on.
Oh, it's another touch. She really hit the pole there, so hopefully that she managed to get her head through the gate line and the judges saw that one clean. She's having some issues down at the bottom of the course though.
Hopefully she's done well though. She's got back online. She should be in the up nicely. As we see, good up, good exit. She will have made up a bit of time there.
Yeah, she'll be looking to finish strong after that little hiccup.
Well, in theory, not out of it yet. But
Yeah, no.
As you mentioned a few minutes ago, the second half of the course really sorts people out.
Oh, yeah.
Well, moves
Not too
provisionally into
happy.
5th place. And who do we have to reserve Fedorova from the Czech Republic?
Another young C1 woman doing well, training hard.
Not far back on the split there at the top.
Very courageous because it is quite a big course and a challenging range into gates. So she's doing well. Oh,
Pole there.
We're given a 2-second penalty.
still going well though. She seems to be pedaling hard, and if she can hold it to the bottom, who knows?
Yeah, it looked like she struggled there and got pushed into the rock a little bit, so she'll be looking to get back on track.
On the right here, opting not to switch, but done it well. Nice and high, allowing herself to spin.
Fans' favourite Katerina Hoskova is not competing at the moment. They spoke to one of the coaches yesterday, and they said, well, she's probably going to be back in September.
Yeah, I think she was enjoying she is getting slightly older and she has accomplished a lot, so I think she's enjoying training a little bit less, and with the experience she has, she doesn't necessarily need to train as much as the younger girls or do as many races.
She spent time in New Zealand last year.
Yeah, she did. She was a coach at a club, and a great one. Very nice. Very small, but very nice lady. And quite a good C1 peddler.
Nice job navigating the bottom section of the course here.
Fizareva, how's she going to perform? There's a huge gap between first, second and third. 138 would put you in easily third.
She touched the last gate there, which is, it's never nice touching the last gate, but she's done so well.
But that's in a way, there's such a big gap between second and third. There's 14 seconds between the first three as we speak. And it's Clara Alatabal from Spain.
Another strong young Spanish girl.
Getting pushed a little wide here in the middle section.
She made it work nicely. She is tight here, but that's unfortunate. Hopefully she can roll up and. Oh yes, no, she's done well.
Rolled up there, but unfortunately she's got pushed down quite low, so
It will be slightly difficult for her to get back up, but she looks like she's
still
trying.
fighting.
Good to see. And there you go. She's
Good for her. She's back in the eddy. She's going straight back up. So she'll have to loop
good.
around, get 11.
It's always good to see a bit of, mental resilience.
I suppose it sets you in good stead for the next time you go on the water.
Yes. She's just getting herself sorted here for the wave. Hopefully she can keep it together for the rest of the run.
Yeah, certainly tough when you miss a gate like that. Looping it. It's usually quicker, although she was quite low, so it may not have cost her 50 seconds, but it probably cost her a good chunk of time. But it's
Ultimately, I think all anyone wants to do is just do the best that they can do in a race, because ultimately you can't control what your fellow competitors do. So it's good that she kept going and just tried to do her best and get a good rundown. Fortunately, it hasn't quite worked out for her. She sure hasn't given up.
You can say she made the semi-final in Pole, 2016 World Cup.
All right.
still going strong. I'm sure she's tired after that, though. It's always hard work fighting and getting yourself back online. But she's doing a good job fighting right to the finish here.
That Eddie is quite strong, and unfortunately it's slightly got the better of her on that occasion. However, she'll return next year for training camp, and she'll be back away.
Clearly, we have the World Championships here in Pole in 2017. Next to go, Noemi Fox
I believe, bronze at Seoul, the last World Cup.
Yeah, well,
So
she only did 2 or 3 World Cups in her career, but
she was quite pleased. She made it through in the first run, because of course only 15 get through on the first run, so she was quite rapt. She was able to get through, save a bit of energy.
Yeah, she's paddling. Oh, little hand save there.
She is the sister of the famous Jess Fox,
who's coming down in about a minute's time.
Yeah, who may well post the leading time.
It's funny watching the commentating, doing the commentating with you, Spencer, last week. Every time that Naomi did a wonderful move, she's like, I taught her that.
Took lots of credit, didn't she? She was very happy, I think, to see her younger sister get a bronze medal on her birthday.
And of course their whole family is here at the moment. Jess competing, Miriam the mother coaching, Richard is also in the mix doing his thing.
So how's the run so far today, crucially?
Looks like she's had
four under 50, so it's really
doesn't look like it's her day. She's had some issues with those poles.
However, she is still, trying her best, which is good to see.
19 years
Still
old.
putting on a strong finish, yeah.
Comes over the line. Not happy, obviously.
And I believe her older sister is on the course.
Jess Fox now. Last week opted out of taking the C1. Just wanted to test the conditions that would be in Rio.
Yes, I believe, because of course C1 woman is run before the K1 woman, so she does have a bit of an advantage for when she does go to compete in K1, as she's had to go on the course as we're in Rio. This year she won't be doing C1 woman, so she doesn't want to have, she wants to try to replicate not having that advantage when it comes to a K1.
And I guess this weekend it's just too tempting.
Yeah, no, she has spent a lot of time at Po, and of course I think their whole family, that Miriam is French by origin, so the whole family speaks French, and I think they have spent a lot of time here and know the course fairly well.
But let's see how she's going today.
A couple of touches and it looks like she's going to be a little bit back on the split here. 6 seconds back.
Although if anyone can make up a 6-second lead of deficit, it's Jess Fox.
Nice switch there. Coming into 19. She's done a good job coming across there and using the hole. Yeah, no, you're right. It looks like she's having a nice bottom section of the course. Hoping to make up some time.
Well, so far, Lucy Priou from France has qualified in 1:22. The next time is 4 seconds back from that, so it looks like Jess is going to immediately qualify.
Jess, provisionally, I would say, will be in the final.
Well, she is now in the final.
There you go.
A learning experience, likes to use the water. Who's next to go? Ellie Gibson from Great Britain. They've been on the scene a while now. Really had a wonderful debut performance a couple of years ago in Lee Valley, so used to the big water.
Yeah, big course to train on, so she'll be happy with a place like this. Definitely a strong paddler. 3
Brits to go in this semi-final, so this is the semi-final.
Oh, she's tight there. This isn't quite the desired line, but she's pulling it back together, getting back on line nicely.
A little turned around there.
Didn't cost herself too much time. I'm guessing she's a Scot by her helmet, or perhaps not.
Very, very much so.
Oh, right. Oh, there you go.
Going for a little punt there, 12.
Even with that wee mess up at the top, going pretty well so far, I'd say. Clean, which is one of the first ones so far.
Paddling on the right here, so probably look for the spin option, 15.
She's tight there, but done well.
Looks like she's a little back on the split here. 12 seconds, so she'll be looking to really pick it up at the bottom, I think. Knowing that she had a little hiccup just after gate 7.
8 competitors to go, so 2 have qualified, Lucy Priou and Jessica Fox.
Picking up a touch there, 17 as well. Oh, another 19.
See, that's quite a brave. She swapped her pedal as she was going down the drop. So I mean, that's quite a good demonstration of her balance there. That she doesn't need to have a pedal in the water, going down that quite big drop.
Another 2 seconds on this time. It's starting to be expensive. 10th place at the moment is 148.
She'll be
Yeah, she'll be in that, but whether it will last, who knows?
Well, it comes into 9th place with 7 athletes left to go, and some very experienced athletes among them. So
yeah, I think she probably would have liked to be a little higher up in the rankings after that run, have a little bit more room, but she'll be watching closely.
Sedkova from the Czech Republic to go next. So it's good that the Czechs are able to put out a full team.
Yeah. Getting a bit offline in that stagger, but she pulled it back nicely.
Going for the spin there. We've seen lots of the women go for the bogey option. That looked like it worked very well for her. I think she caught a nice swallow in the wave too and took advantage of it.
Going pretty well so far, got a fairly good pace.
Getting a little turned up.
Although getting back online nicely. She won't be ahead of Lucy Perot, but she'll be close.
Yeah, not too far off on the split there. Looks like the boat's on track. So far she's had a clean run. She's doing a nice job down this middle bottom section. Really nice cross there into 18. She kept the boat really flat and really moved it over the top part of that hole.
Seems like the Czechs must have been doing a fair bit of endurance training and gym work, because all their girls are able to pull, fairly hard for a whole run.
She's
So
still got lots of power down at the bottom,
yeah,
doesn't she?
yeah.
And that's not an easy task on a course like this.
Yeah, same as her counterpart who went earlier.
Fighting down to the finish line here.
Martina Sedkova comes into 4th, and with that qualifies for the final. It joins Lucy Preux, Jess Fox, Miriam Lethcano, and next to go on course is Victoria Wolfhard, who's only recently switched to C1, obviously an accomplished K1 pedal as well.
One to watch. She's she's quite good, and as you see, she got offline there, but very quickly got back online, saving herself a lot of time.
Yeah, you can see coming from a good, strong kayak background, she's quick thinking. When things don't go according to plan, she does a great job of getting back on track.
Even with the 2-second deficit, I think she's on for a pretty good run so far.
Yeah, she had some nice control coming across, putting the bow right where she wanted for the upstream, using the water to help her turn.
Getting a little bit caught up in the eddies there, but making it work.
She's coming below 15.
She picked up a touch, but thankfully she was a clean up until then, so it won't cost her too much.
Camera angle makes that, doesn't really give that move any justice. That gate 15 is quite close to the hole, so you do need to kind of come through just on the top of it. You don't want to be right in the pit, and you don't want to be too far behind, but it's a fine line of where you need to be to get into the gate well.
She's done that cross quite nicely. She's taking her time, making sure she gets all the gates cleanly.
Yeah,
working it well.
I think that's important here. A clean run is going to go a long way. Having the patience there to just wait, let the water do its thing was definitely the right call.
Well, it looks like there was a plan here to qualify, perhaps not in first, but just to qualify through.
Well, I mean, just what you're saying about the clean runs. So far, there's 2 clean runs, and both the people who've had clean runs are in the final. So,
Well, here she goes, books a place in the final with 5 athletes to go.
she'll be happy. Fresh start in the final.
Next to go, Kimberly Woods from Great Britain. Rarely has a clean run. Normally keeps us excited.
Thankfully, she's usually fast enough that it doesn't really matter. Doing well through there. We've seen other girls get a bit caught up.
Yeah, just not quite a second back on the split there.
This should be good.
Going for the
Nice
spin
and,
option.
nice and tight. Caught the wave.
Yeah, fantastic there. I think it's if you do the spin and you let your boat travel a little bit farther down from the gate rather than trying to come across just below it, it helps you out because you can take advantage of the wave and get a little boost from it, put you into the up in a nicer position. And there, she's done a great job walking the fine line between too much in the hole and not quite in it enough. And great spin.
I'm not sure that she won't beat Lucy Pro, but she'll be very close. Yeah, there you go, one second. I think is it the closest we've seen so far?
I think so.
Yeah, very much so. Jess was 2.6 down in the end, with six penalties.
And so far a clean run, which is, it always steers you well.
So the fastest pure time was Jess Fox with 119.
Well, here you go. She's got up in
the hole there, but
done well.
Good work saving that.
There's no panic, was there?
No, she was calm and just patient. I think she knew that she's got a good run going. And there's no need to do anything drastic. Just let the hole bounce you out, get back on track.
This will be a very competitive time, actually.
Well, it's certainly going to qualify. Maybe first or second.
Maybe, I think second, probably.
There you go.
Clean run.
6 athletes
Very
through
close
to the final now, which is Lucy Prieur, Kim Woods, who goes into second, Jess Fox, Myrna Lethgano, Martina Satkova, Victoria Wolfhard have also, so they're all either local knowledge or big ones. Another local knowledge, Claire Jacquet from France.
Got good speed there. She's a little offline though. I think maybe she got pushed by that wave a little farther than she had expected. And again, that's a tough section of the course where things shift and change, and you really need to be prepared for anything the water's going to throw at you.
She's doing well so far, a little bit low there, but she'll pull it back.
Might have been a bit of bad luck from the water there, not helping her as much as some of her competitors.
Well, the sun's come out.
Yeah, thankfully.
It's still only about 4 degrees, but it's the sun's come out.
She's had quite a nice spin there. Opting for a nice wide line. She's going to go direct here, 16 to 17.
Well,
She'll be in nice and high.
Oh,
Oh, too high.
A little too high.
Right at the bottom of the eddy, but she'll keep going.
Yeah, it's a shame she was so close to just being right in there, but
although that cross there, that was very good.
Yeah.
Flat boat.
The thing with the fast current and the strong eddy means those eddy lines are really really sharp, and it's hard to fight them.
And perhaps how she went quite low in the eddy, it would have given her a bit extra speed across that, coming out and across that hole. So not all negative.
So she's picked up 6 seconds of penalties so far.
Getting a little bit wayward at the end, but making it work.
But a strong finish, and she might have it.
Well, 37 will make it.
And she will.
37 will make it, and say, don't worry, you're in the final.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely didn't go quite as she had hoped, I don't think.
However, it's better to go not as you hope to go the final. It's Jazz Royal from Great Britain. 3 athletes to go, 2 from Great Britain, and the great Nura Villaroubla coming up last.
Sliding a little in that section. Again, we've seen the waves shift the boat. She didn't get pushed quite as far as she had hoped, so she was ducking and a little out of control, but she's done a great job to get back on track, put the boat in the position she wanted it, keep her speed.
Certainly a very capable paddler, one to watch. Quite a pocket rocket actually. I tried to tried to test her boat last year. I just couldn't fit in it. So done that nicely. Use the hole. Good spin.
Yeah, that was very well done. Looks like she'll be a little off on the split though.
A little high in the spin, but it's worked out alright.
Right, as we saw, she's 10 seconds off the pace and she has 14 seconds to play with, so really can't afford to mess up any more if she wants to go through to the final.
Yeah, no, she will have to do well down the bottom, but she definitely is capable.
Did
she get that gate?
I believe so.
Okay.
Maybe not.
No, I think she's going back for it.
Well, it could be expensive. Is expensive.
Yeah, it looked like she slowed down on the exit from the upstream, so must have hurt her getting across, and she didn't get quite far enough over. Although, good commitment. Good to see her know that and be able to dodge the next gate and go back for it.
Unfortunately, this time won't be good enough for the final, but still good. She's, kept going, doing well for herself, battling on to the finish.
Well, now as we speak, Jasmine Royal doesn't make the final today and knows it. 2 athletes left to go, and both huge champions. Mallory Franklin here from Great Britain has been on top of her game for many, many years now.
Oh yes, she is really a class act.
Very smooth paddler.
She makes it look very easy.
Taking advantage of the wave there. Yeah, you can see that she's taking her time. She's putting in good long strokes, putting the boat in the right place.
She's one paddler who I get the feeling she knows that she's good enough to do very well, so she just has to, be careful and cautious and put a run together.
Obviously very top K1 paddler as well, so really comfortable with the water. 4.35 seconds back. To make the final, she'd need to come down 16 seconds off the pace, so barring disaster, it's looking good so far.
And she's ranked second in the world in this class, so I'd have a fair amount of faith in her pulling through.
Yeah, she's very calm through this section here. It's good. I think she knows that she doesn't need to do anything drastic or anything crazy to make the final. And she's just putting together a great smooth run here. Very nice through gate 22. Looks like this will be safely into the final.
Oh yes. Top 5 even.
Yeah, I think she had a fantastic bottom there.
Clean run too.
Only 1 athlete to go, and it is arguably the most exciting lady on the circuit at the moment, who has legend status in sail. It's Canoe available.
Had some great runs last weekend. Doing a good job of using the fast water there. Got tons of speed coming down the top section.
She's a very slim, slight lady, and it just proves the point that it's not all about being a big, strong giant. You can be a much smaller technical paddler and still do just as well.
Yeah, and she does a good job letting the water do a lot of the work for her. It's very advantageous in a course like this.
And doing very well. You see, she handles the whitewater very well. A bit premature on that spin, I think. She should have pushed in the eddy slightly more.
Missed a stroke there, it looked like, but she did a great job bouncing off the edge of the hole. It pushed her right across, just not quite to the gate.
Well, interesting enough, almost 9 seconds off the pace, so she can't afford to mess up any more. This will be a huge shock if she doesn't make it through from the semi-final. Last competitor to go in the semi-final. So far we have 9 qualified, including Woods, Franklin and Fox, who I suppose are the favourites going into this.
Certainly. Doing well there, doing very nicely. That's how the boys do it.
Very strong strokes through there.
This will be a very competitive time.
Well, she was 8.5 seconds off, wasn't she? But it looks like she probably caught back at least half of that.
She won't take the
very
lead.
quick bottom.
That should be close to it.
Close to it, and definitely with some areas to improve. So I think she'll know going forward that she's got lots of potential for the final.
So we have our 10 finalists. 20 athletes started out. 15 came direct from the first heat. 5 had to bat it out to go through from the second. And now we have no asterisks left on anyone, so it looks like it's not going to move around much. Fastest qualification, home knowledge, I'd say certainly an advantage there. Lucy Priot from France. Then Kimberly Woods and Mary Franklin from Great Britain are going to go last and second, 9th and 8th in this final. Jessica Fox, Villarubler, Lethcano, Sadkova, Wolfhart, Claire Jackie and Fizarova are the others in the final. So pretty much most of the big names have gone through, haven't
yes.
they?
Yeah.
It's always difficult to say someone who's not gone through. So you can see this is the order they finished. So you turn it upside down, you'll see the order they're going to go in the final in about an hour and a half's time.
See Jess Fox there, very fast run. She would have been nearly 4 seconds ahead of Lucy Peru, but unfortunately those touches got her down.
We were always joking last week that she said you always has at least 6 seconds penalties, and she didn't deny it, did she? So,
No, she'll be looking to clean that up, I think, for the final.
well, we're going to have a bit of a switch now because we've been on duty for the last hour and a half. You can go out there and have a bit of a tan. As the sun's going to come out, Patrick Washer from New Zealand and Spencer Pomway from Canada. Hope to have you back for the final in our today's time, but we're just going to go off air for about a second or two and then welcome our next guest. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, great camera images coming through live to you from Pau in the southwest corner of France. When we came in this morning a couple of hours ago, it was wet and cold, but no wind. Crucially now, the sun has come out, and crucially also, there's no wind. So it's exactly the conditions that we're looking forward to. 40 qualifiers made it through to the semi-final list of the K1 men. This is the order they're going to go through, so we're going to see 4 blocks of 10 athletes. I'm Matthew Leighton. Thanks to my last 2 guests who've been commenting their expertise as we go down the course. Someone else to come in, Aisling Conlon from Ireland. Hello.
Hi, how's it going?
I think going very well so far. Look at the list. We have some huge champions, several Olympians, and it's going to be fast and furious. We saw in this course so far, generalizing, the first half was fairly, at this level, fairly manageable, and then we saw a tricky second half where there were lots of challenging crosses and lots of areas where the athletes were coming unstuck, taking time. So it's really a case of you don't lose it on the, you don't win it on the top, you can lose it on the bottom. That's really where things made out. How do you see it?
I definitely agree with that. I think especially from gate 11 towards gate 14, I think it's a very tricky section that we see from gate 9 towards gate 10. It's actually the opposite of what we had yesterday in the qualifications. But first off, we've got Michal Pasu. He was formerly a junior European medalist in Optovsky in 2009, so he's definitely shown good junior potential, but he's yet to really show on the senior scene. So we'll see what he's got for us today.
So the first athletes off are the athletes who scraped forward in the almost like the pool of death, wasn't it? Because I think they started off with about 88 athletes in the beginning, 30 made it straight through to the semi-final, and 10 had to battle it out against the other 40-odd competitors, and that's really sometimes really hard to do. But
it can be even harder to make it on the second runs because there's so many big names that maybe could get a 50 and so on, and then there's a few rising stars that are trying to get into that final 10 spots as well. But he seems to be off to a good run so far, keeping the boat running for most parts. This is quite tricky just here to try and keep the boat running across the back of that stopper. Oh, he's getting a little bit caught up there, but he kind of pulls it off.
And this is where we saw with the C athletes, this is where the tiredness and the split decisions really makes all the difference, doesn't it, between the good athletes and the great athletes?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's all about this bottom section is trying to paddle with the water, not to let it push you around too much. And he's just getting through that section there. Not too bad a line, but let's see if he's got any energy left in his arms to keep him going to the finish line. So I got 2 touches so far, so that could be costly. Again, a little bit caught up there at the end, but hopefully he can put down a solid time so we have a marker for the following athletes to come down next.
Well, that's the first timing. We don't have any references for you. We know that Matej Beneš won his semi-final by 4 seconds, could have won it by 6 seconds. It was
Yeah.
incredibly impressive, wasn't it?
I definitely think we could be looking towards like a 90, 92 potentially winning the semi-final.
Ben Hayward from Canada has lived joy and heartbreak in the last couple of weeks with just missing out on the Olympic, but the more important is the life adventure still going strong with his Hobbit van.
Yes, exactly, and he's looking forward to finishing off his architecture degree in the following year, so he's got an exciting couple of 12 months ahead anyway. But first of all, he's got to get down this run. Seems to be off to a good start so far. He's a very aggressive paddler. You normally see him ducking and diving, throwing his neck back very dramatically to get around gates.
Well, he has had a problem with his neck for the last, hasn't made much of an issue of it, but he had a problem with his neck for the last month, I believe.
Yeah, he was kind of plagued by injury briefly, but hopefully that doesn't seem to be holding him back too far so far on this run. He seems to be off to a good start.
He puts on a show, doesn't he? Certainly, there's no smoothness about this. It's all a case of...
it's all or nothing with them,
exactly.
I think. We saw quite a lot of the C1 men were actually taking that as a spin option, which could be not quite as fast for the K1 men, but it seems to be a bit sticky to try and do that move forwards, I think. A little bit caught up there on that eddy line.
So it's amazing, the first time ever an Irish voice has dried up.
I know, we've definitely got the gift for the gab, I think. Sorry.
Well, Ben Hayward here putting together a very solid run. He's negotiated all the different sections, comes through, and then if it's going to be enough, but it's good news. It's less than 100 seconds, 99.91 from Ben Hayward.
He definitely had like a little bit of time there around. Oh,
no, that's for show.
that's for show. Cooling off a little bit, too much of a heated run, I think.
Well, I know in the just before his crucial Heat 2 run, he puts the boat on the escalator, the moving carpet, and then just dives into the water.
Yeah, he does like to have a good bit of fun, actually. He's a good lad.
Jakub Gribra, who is one of the top talents in the world. The juniors were delighted to see the back of him.
Yeah, for sure. He was definitely a very, very talented junior. He did quite a lot of training in Liptovsky Mikuláš with Elena Kaliska, double Olympic champion. So he's definitely like a little protege. He's been coming up through the junior ranks now into the under-23s. So
Still pretty much pushing towards the 20th anniversary, ex-junior world champion, and crucially going to Rio.
exactly. I think there's going to be a really crucial Olympic Games where we're seeing the exit of quite a lot of the older favourites. Momenti won't be there to defend his Olympic title. There's quite a lot of young guns are going to be there chasing their first Olympic Games, so it'll be really exciting. It's probably the best we saw it so far, but I think we can see that a lot faster with the following K1 men. The tricky thing about this move here is trying to get in nice and tight to the gate, getting a nice jump without letting your nose jump up too much and hitting that inside pole.
So here there's no time to, once you come under the bridge, there's no time to relax, is there? It's just
No, it's really constant the whole
hold
way
up.
down. You have to really hold your concentration. A lapse of judgment down here could be very costly, not just with the touch, but going offline, completely messing up a potentially very good run.
powers over the line and clearly takes first place, 97.15.
Yeah.
Difficult to see where it's going to be enough because there's 37 athletes to go. if local knowledge helps, Matthew Doby representing Belgium, but obviously with the connections, kayaking PE connections, should be someone exciting to watch.
Yeah, for sure. He's got a very smooth paddling style. Really like him, and he has quite a large Belgium support team here. Actually, there's lots of little kids down by the finish line waving their little Belgian flag. So he's definitely got some home advantage, I think. Doing that move forwards very nicely. We saw that was very much a spin move for the C1M earlier.
Is the voice going to hold out? We have 36 competitors to go. Well, it's slightly down on the split so far. Matthew Doby from Belgium, whose brother's here commentating for the Equipe team, which is obviously the national newspaper in France. They have a TV section now, and that's great to see that more and more serious institutions and journals are putting forward this as a possibility to watch high-level sport. Coming under the bridge, you see the shadow there.
This doesn't seem to be too bad a run so far. He's really keeping the boat moving, and he's clean so far, so we can just see what he's going to get on the split just here. He's just up by 3.72, so a little bit off, but you can see what he can pull off down the bottom. Really is a make or break section down here.
I think this is what we've seen, haven't we? We haven't seen anyone apart from Mathieu Benesch in the C1 who's really just looked controlled and powerful. Everyone's really struggled, which is
yeah,
great.
he seems to be having a little bit of trouble here. I think it's really sort of you need to keep some energy in the tank for the very bottom section. I think the top kind of runs itself. You can paddle quite well up there, but you can really lose your entire run on this bottom section. Just picking up a touch there as well, and ducking and diving.
Well, Matthew Doby comes over the line in 4th place, and
I think
he'll
be quite disappointed with that, to be honest.
There are some graphics coming out. Richard Powell, as you can see, expects to make a semi-final from the US of A.
Yeah, he's a very interesting paddler. He's the reserve for the US Olympic team this year. He also picked up a bronze medal at the 2012 Under-23 Worlds in Wausau, Wisconsin. So he's a very interesting paddler, very aggressive. Very timid personality, but he definitely doesn't paddle that way. Very aggressive. I
know, we scare him stupid every time we're walking about with a microphone to do our questions, and he always flatly refuses. So we ask him every time.
Yeah, no, he's a very nice gentleman, so hopefully he can put it down here.
A little bit off the pace as we see.
Interesting line there. I don't think he really wanted to take gate 9 that way, but not too bad a spin. Holding a little bit of height there on the cross and the wave.
So the course is certainly set some challenges. A lot of the athletes said that the qualification course was very difficult.
It was very difficult. It was a very stark contrast to what we had last week in Liceo. It was very basic course last week in terms of we had very quick times last week, and there was lots of paddlers very close together on the very same seconds trying to qualify. So it was very different. I think Po is a very big, very pushy course, but quite a lot of people love paddling here because it's so tricky.
Well, Michael Powell.
It all seems to have been going a bit downhill down here, but he just scrapes through that gate, but I don't think he's going to be very happy with the bottom section of this run at all.
Of course, Richard Powell. So many Michaels competing. I was a bit mistaken there, but he looks like he has a 50 penalty on there, and no, he knows it's game over, unfortunately. Just paddles over the line.
It's very unfortunate because he has so much potential, but he's yet to really prove it in a semi-final yet. But hopefully in the last 2 World Cups he could show us what he's made of.
I remember watching him 3 or 4 years ago. He did some blisteringly fast runs. And someone very much for the future, Mario Neitner, who has a busy year ahead. He's still at school. He managed to negotiate somehow to do his final exams in October. And why is he doing that? Well, he's going to the Olympics in a couple of months' time. Yeah,
I was just speaking to him there in the team athlete area, and he says that he's heading off to Rio on Tuesday. So he's very excited for that. So it's a little bit of a tight line he just took there on gate 6 and showing up a 50-second penalty, but I'm sure his team leaders will be having a look at the video on that and seeing if there's any room for a protest or inquiry on that.
So a couple of years ago it was Sister Lisa who was making the headlines as the young gun, and now it's It's
Mario.
a little brother who's coming through.
Yeah, he did very well at the Junior Worlds in Australia actually as well. He was Junior World Champion, so he's definitely shown his form on the junior stage, and he's starting to show it in the under 23s now as well. But he's going to be on the biggest stage of all, the Olympic Games, in just a few weeks, so I'm sure that's his main focus right now.
Picking out experience here. So the course designers, Nick Smith and Pierre Devereaux, they've looks like they've had some fun, haven't they? They're making sure that everyone realises that they've been on a course.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this is a really interesting course. I think it's a very good use of all the features. All the big stoppers are being used as well. So it's nice to see this high level of course design as well. Sometimes course designers can set a real difficult course, and it can really show who are the heroes and who are the big boys in racing. So
Well, let's see how he completes the last one. We'll have to see if the 50 was a close call or not, but it's so far, with timing wise, he's certainly very quick.
yeah, without that 50, he'd be in a very good position right now. But I think we're going to see the top K1 men go a couple of seconds faster than a 97.
Well, you're allowed to predict what you like.
Well, we'll see what happens anyway.
Martin Dugu from Switzerland. Mike Kurt officially retired last weekend, and he hasn't come back yet, which was a bit of a surprise, but he's been retiring for the last 5 years, at least as I know. But obviously looking to concentrate on business interests now. Seem to be going very well, which is the website I Believe in You, which is a fundraising athletes portal in Switzerland and a couple of other countries as well. Here we go.
Yeah, the Swiss team is very young at the moment, that with Lucas Wero qualifying for the games in C2 with his brother Simon, it allows that Lucas Wero's K1 spot has been freed up for a couple of the young guns to come and do some of their first World Cups. So we're seeing a lot of switching around of who's doing which races in the Swiss team, I think, to give experience to the young guys.
So this is the third World Cup. The first one was 2 weeks ago, Ivrea in Italy, then it was La Selle d'Urgell in Spain. A bit of a pause, clearly, for the Olympics, and then the second and third weeks of September we go to Prague, and then the final is going to be in Tachin, which is in just outside Ljubljana in Slovenia. So good activities this year.
Yeah, he seems to be off to a pretty good run so far. He opted for the peel out on gate 11, which is the first K1 man that we've seen do that. But seems to be on a good run so far. 6 seconds down on the split with a touch. Just getting a little bit caught up there. We'll see what he can do in this bottom section, see if he can make or break his run. Too bad through that section. Let's see what he can really do down here, see if he can kind of pull it together. He's still down on the split though, so he's got a lot of work to do in this final gate and sprint to the finish. Just picking up a touch there on the last gate as well. He'll be quite annoyed at himself for that last touch, but
Well, at the moment, third rank, one would suspect that anything above probably 98, 99, you're not going to make the final, because there's 40 athletes here.
yeah, we've still got a lot of the big names in the sport, former Olympic champions, Olympic medalists, world medalists still to come down. But
Bradley Forbes Cryans, who you've probably known for a while now, he's top junior and representing Great Britain, has a chance to make the top team.
yeah, he's done very well. He's very much a rising star. He was a very good junior, fourth at the Junior Worlds in Liptovsky. He also made his first senior final at the World Cup in Ivrea a couple of weeks ago, so he's on an absolute flyer of the season. And
Doesn't seem to lack confidence.
no, he's a very confident young lad, but
That's gives something for the judges.
yeah, for sure. But he's really confident young paddler. He's training with some of the best in Lee Valley every single day, so no doubt he'll be one to watch for the future.
As you can see on your screen, he was awarded a 50-second penalty on gate number 8. It looked like he made a mess of it.
Yeah, I don't think that was really the line he wanted to take at all. That area just there on that bend that we can see just in front of us, that's the water there really moves around quite a lot, so you have to really go with the water and try not let it push you around. But that's very quick spin, very, very fast. Very impressed with that. That kind of might have saved his run, but unfortunately he still has that 50, so I guess he's just out for having fun now. I'm sure he knows that he has that 50, so he's just about showcasing what he can do and putting down as good a run as he can now.
And it's all experience, isn't it? Because it is a highly pressurized environment. You know you have TV, you know you have your peers watching you.
Exactly, and especially with the semi-finals, because it's only one run counts, it's real sort of go big or go home. You have to lay everything down on the line and go as hard as you can. And sometimes the risks pay off, and sometimes they really don't. But
And crucially, we're in the middle of a 3-year series. We had a World Cup here last year in Poe, World Cup here clearly this year, and it's the World Championships in 2017. The dates have just been moved back, I believe. They're going to be mid-September. But it's a big way to practice for next year. Lubos Hilger, who is part of the famous family, now 29 years old, wow. Ranked 29 in the world from Czech Republic.
really interesting to see how he gets on today. His mother, as we know, is a multi-time Olympian and Olympic champion as well, and he's also coached by his father. So very good family sporting history.
Talk about styles. How's his style contrast? Can you tell he's a Hilgertova brand or not? But look at that, 7 gate, 50-second penalty's gone on.
That was a little bit suspect, but I guess that's something for the judges to look at, and potentially his team leaders as well. I'm sure they'll be looking very closely at the video of that. But he's on to not too bad a run so far. He's got a very aggressive paddling style, similar to the rest of the Czech paddlers as well. He's just coming through down to the next section down here. See what he can do, see if he can run the boat down the back of the stopper. Oh, he's made a little bit of a mess of that, but hopefully he can try and keep the head and keep going with the rest of his run. Nice dry line there, a little bit tight around the pole.
5th last and 4th last to go will be his compatriots. So that's Vevor Hadelek and Vit Prindis. Yuri Puskovic Jr. is not here this week. He's concentrating on his preparations for Rio, I guess.
Yeah, he actually hasn't raced any of the World Cups, I think, so far this year, after qualifying a space at the European Championships where he won gold again. So that was a very quick upstream for Hilgert there. So see what he can do. It's quite a fast time, I think, just unfortunate about that 50-second penalty on gate 7.
As the last 3 athletes seem to have had 50s, so now out of the 5 athletes had maximum of 4 penalties, and then the last 4 have had 50s, so it just shows there's the pressure there. Next to go from France, the 2012 Olympian is Etienne Dye, who's been looking incredibly focused this week. I haven't seen him look so focused.
He had a fantastic 2012 season, winning, I think, 4 of the 5 World Cups that year. He didn't quite have the Olympic Games he wanted, and he's been plagued by injury since, so that's why we haven't really seen him around on the international circuit. But he's paddling very well this week. I think he trains quite a lot in Poe as well, so
that's right. He has an apartment here, and also he didn't make it through from the first heat. He made a huge error on the first heat, but was the fastest by far on the second heat. So I think he wants to put down a marker.
Yeah, that composure, that he knows the course that well, that he can lay it down on second runs. Hopefully he can try and replicate that here in this semi-final.
Again, very slight build, but they seem to sit on top of the water and knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I think in our sport there's a wide variety of body shapes that kind of go on. There's the short statue of Danielle Malmenti, who's an absolute powerhouse paddler, and then there's very tall paddlers like Alex Grimm that have very long levers to be able to paddle from the front of the boat.
Well, 3 seconds off the pace at the moment.
Not too bad an upstream, but this is the very trickiest section. But he does a very nice cross there, where he kept the boat moving. And he doesn't get bogged down too much there either. He seems to be on quite a good bottom section, probably the best bottom section we've seen so far in the K1M.
Well, we saw crucially he was 3 seconds down, but I suppose that means 1.5 seconds down. It looks like he's going to have the fastest time, but is it going to be enough because only 10 athletes have gone? Well, he's in first place, and
he seems happy enough with that, but we'll have to see what the other K1M can lay down. There's still 30 boats to go, so we'll see. But it'd be fantastic to have a couple of French paddlers in the final. I'm sure the home crowd would love that as well.
Hannes Egener, Olympic boat, for the second time in a row. There's a lot of disappointed other Germans out there. Sebastian Schubert's had an amazing last 3 seasons, just fell short when it actually mattered.
He's a very nice paddler to watch, very aggressive and very controlled as well.
I guess that's the ideal combination.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to keep that kind of composure and concentration the whole way down through a run is very important, especially on a course like Canoe. Opting for the spin there, which is slightly conservative, but he seems to pull it off by having a very nice upstream. Nice paddling style here.
And crucially, very much in touch with the split. Etienne Dye so far in first place because he had a really solid second half. Right, interesting music in the background. Well, you can hear slight, enormously rock music. It's 2.9 seconds off the pace is Hannes Aigner. But look, he's had to go back. He's gone low, look.
Yeah, no, it all seems to be going a little bit wrong here for Hannes. He's been very low in that upstream. Yeah.
No need to shout. The volume's coming through okay.
He's finishing off his run very strong here. I think it'll be quite a good run. He's very in touch with the time now, I think. A little bit low down on the time though. 104, 105 seconds so far going towards the finish line.
Well, no.
I don't think he'll be very happy with that at all. 112 seconds, quite off the pace, including a touch. But we'll see if any of his other German compatriots can do a lot better on their runs.
Andrei Malek.
Now, Andrei Malek, he picked up a bronze medal at the Senior Europeans a couple of years ago. He's up. He's off to a very good run so far. Really keeping the boat moving so far. Very smooth, composed paddling style. Low reps, but every single rep has got a nice power to every single stroke. Opting to do that move forwards. Oh, managed to keep the boat dry there, but it was very tight on that gate. A little bit low in the cross as well. Getting very stuck up on that cross just there, but he's quite dry through there. That's very nice upstream. So he's just coming up to the final gate now. It's going to be quite tight on it and sprinting towards the finish. So Etienne Dye is laying down the first time of 96 seconds. I think Malek is going to be slightly outside of that with the 99.
Yeah, just 2 seconds off the pace. We're just trying to sort out what's happening with the music there, which wasn't adding that much, I feel. So it just shows we're coming to you live at courtside from Po, and it's Janos Petelin from Slovenia who's next to go. Tell us something about him.
He's also a member of the team C1M. He trains here quite a lot. He's a very interesting Slovenian paddler. He's been on and off the Slovenian team for a number of years, and we've seen him around the international circuit for most of the last 10 years, so he's a very promising paddler. He'll know this course very well, so hopefully he can use that to his advantage as well. It's not off to too bad a start so far, but we can see if he's in line with Etienne's first split. He's just up by 0.4, so he's still in touch. But then again, the bottom of the section is really the make or break section of this course, so we'll see if he can keep his composure there.
So in the cross here, downstream 11, upstream 12, we've seen probably all 4 combinations tried.
Exactly, so the options are forwards, spin, peel out as well. We've seen that as well, so yet to see anything too consistent really go down. I think the spin is probably the best option for the K1 men, but most of the C1 men were going for the peel out around the outside pole. I think that was a very good line for the C1 men. He's just coming into this crunch section now. It's nicknamed the Kraken, so it's be a very difficult stopper to cross, but he seems to get around a very dry line, keeping the boat moving. I think he's on to quite a good run so far into the final upstream. A little bit slow around there, but he seems to be full of energy still. He doesn't seem to be too tired, so we can see what he can do in the final sprint.
Well, that's what we need, isn't it? Still, we've now had 13 competitors to go. Janos Petelin moves initially into 5th place. Will it be enough? Well, 99.67, 2.85 off the pace. Andrei Tonka from the Czech Republic trains with the best and will be expecting the best also. So I guess he'd be wanting to go 2 or 3 seconds faster than we've seen so far.
Yeah, Chunke, he's a very good paddler, very aggressive like the rest of the Czech K1M team. He's a very interesting paddler, still quite young, but I don't think he'll be too happy with picking up a touch on the very first gate.
That's the first time we've seen, I believe, today.
Yeah, I think that might just be nerves setting off on the first gate. So
Because like we saw yesterday, even with the demos, the first 4, another big mistake there. We saw the first 4 gate, they actually fly down there, don't they? Come over the lip and fly down there.
Yeah, it's a very quick section through there. It's very much, you don't need to put many strokes in that section because the water's doing so much work. You just really need to steer the boat and make sure that you're staying on line. But he'll be disappointed that he's picked up 2 touches already and he's only coming into gate 12, so that could be very costly. We'll see.
Most of the athletes were describing the first section, I suppose the word they were using was fun.
Yeah, it's definitely a very fun and bouncy course. I think the top section of the course is very almost similar to the left-hand side channel in Bratislava in the fact that there's very big waves.
Haven't been to Bratislava for a few years, so
Yeah.
interesting course there.
With under 23 Worlds will be there in a couple of years, so hopefully you'll have an opportunity to go back soon. Seems to be on a decent enough bottom section, opting to go on the back of that stopper rather than crossing within. Quite fast so far, but I think those 2 touches are going to be very costly.
Well, 3 touches now. It just hasn't been. I suppose if you make a big mistake on the first gate, mentally it's not easy to manage it.
It's very hard to try and reset, and it really is a test of your mental strength to be able to put that to the back of your head and lay down a good run.
But there's some big names going around. And big names missing out as well. Hannes Eigner is not going to go through. Matthew Doby, with local knowledge, is not going to go through. Mario Letner, the great future of the sport, is not going to go through. So far, all the big names haven't managed to put down the performance. And Sebastian Schubert, who on his day in the ice canal is absolutely untouchable, isn't he? Yes, last week he made a big error on, I think, gate number 12, so didn't quite make it through, but it is one of the top 2 or 3 athletes out there on his day.
He's a very, very quick paddler, really controlled as well, but he's very aggressive in the sense that he takes a lot of risks, and sometimes they pay off and sometimes they don't, but hopefully today they will. But he's already got a touch on gate 4 so far. He's just up on the split, so without that touch he'd be a little bit faster than Dye.
Interesting to know from the psychologist's point of view how he's managed to cope with not going to the Olympics.
I'd say it's very hard. I think we'll see it also with Radlek as well, that I think they feel like they've got something to prove because they're not the Olympic boat, that it's very hard to try and reset that you're training for the hardest Olympic selection race of your life and then not to make it, to try and then think in a 4-year cycle towards the next games. It can be a bit challenging for some, but he's off to a good season anyway, so we'll see what he can do. So a pretty good run so far coming into the crunch section now. Just picking up a touch and getting caught around that pole. That's quite a nice upstream, so it's making up for it now.
But with 26 athletes to go, it needs to put in something quite special. You'd think mid-90s would be what you're looking for.
I'd say mid-90s for sure. So far we haven't seen faster than 96, I don't think, so.
Etienne Dye sitting in the hot spot at the moment. He looked happy with his run. Where's he going to come in? It's not going to be enough, is it? 5th rank, 2.21 off the pace.
No, I think we're going to see a lot of K1 men within a very small margin of time. That K1 men racing is always so fast. It's very much the blue ribbon event within canoe slalom racing, so it'll be very interesting to see what they can put down.
And Juan Crespo, who on his local course in Seidegel has by far the best results of his career, but not too far away. I imagine they've had many training courses here in the last few years.
Yeah, the Spanish team actually have one half of their Olympic selections, and their national selection races will normally be in Po as well, so we would have had a lot of training camps here.
And on his day, a very exciting paddler.
He's very aggressive. He takes quite a lot of ducking and diving as well, but he's a very nice paddler. see what I can do here. See if he's going to go for the spin option here. And just try and keep it across that wave, keep the boat going the whole way in. It's very hard not to get stuck on that eddy line when you're trying to cross in from the spin move. But he keeps it nice and dry there by that stopper by the rocks. Just runs the boat very nicely through there. A little bit stuck around the reverse. Maybe spin could have been a better option there given his boat position, but he's pulling it off quite well, I think.
Well, everything's clean so far.
Yeah,
It's
I
not
think
not the most exciting run he's ever done.
no, but I think he is one of the first people we've seen get this far down the course without picking up a penalty. So that's, I think this course without penalties is going to be very advantageous. His nice final upstream, and he could challenge Dye for that top spot.
Or could it be our first run sub 95? No, surprising. Even with penalties, he moves into third rank. So it just shows how they're starting to group at the top. Etienne Dye, Jakob Griga, and Juan Crespo. If those three made the final, then it wouldn't be a problem, would it? Really?
No, I'm quite surprised that the K1M men haven't gone a little bit faster, and there've been so many penalties so far. But next we've got Daniel Momenti, Olympic champion from London, who unfortunately won't be there to defend his title.
Took the silver medal in Ivrea a couple of weeks ago. Didn't make the final in Seoul last week.
He's very much a showman. He loves to perform and put on a show for the spectators as well. He's a very larger-than-life character as well. Always laughing and joking, but very serious when it comes to racing.
And coached by former Olympic champion Piero Ferrazzo from Italy also. So they're very much a unique group.
Yeah, very much. It's very nice to see a national grown squad coming together. Quite a lot of countries are importing coaches from other countries to try and help their coaching staff. It's quite nice to see an all-Italian coaching squad. He seems to be on a pretty good run so far, so we'll just see him coming up to the split now to see if he's in touch with Dye's time. Nice little cross there as well. And he looks like he could be slightly faster, I think.
Well, yes, look at that. 0.6 up, so the 17th competitor to go, Daniel Momenti from Italy, is really putting together a good solid run.
It was a very nice cross there. Unfortunately, he's picked up a touch on gate 16, but I think he's probably fast enough that he could potentially absorb that penalty if he can keep it on a good run to the very end.
But unfortunately, if you look at the actual scoring, anyone who's more than 2 seconds out is not going to make it. Now there's 2 seconds of penalties there. Comes over the line in what's the time going to be? Well, already out of the game, unfortunately.
101. I don't think he'll be too happy with that. It looked like such a fantastic run so far. He really kept the boat moving, so I'm sure that'll be something for him and his coaches to look back on the video and see where he can improve going into the next series of World Cups.
We have to see where the graphics normally update automatically. And Lucien Delfort, look at his bib number, you can tell he's a top competitor. Born not too far away from here, represented and has his Australian passport now, and crucially for him has the ticket to go to Rio.
Exactly, he was very unfortunate that he hadn't got his Australian passport sorted out ahead of the London Games, but hopefully he can put it down in Rio and see what he can do. But he definitely knows this course very well, living not too far from here, so hopefully he can use some of that home advantage too.
Half a second up at the moment. Daniel Momenti at the moment provisionally in 9th position, but there's an asterisk next to his name. Crucially also, there's still an asterisk next to the name of Etienne Dye, who has the top time so far, so you have to watch this space.
He's off to a very good run so far. He's taking very tight lines on all of the upstreams, so we'll see what he can do down here. Oh, but he's been given a 50-second penalty on gate 12. I think that's potentially on the exit was maybe a little bit too tight. But we'll see what the judges have to say about that upon further review. But he's on a very good run despite that.
Well, you can see it's 2 seconds up, crucially on the timing. However, with the 50, it doesn't really help.
Not too bad an upstream there. Let's see what he can do on the bottom section. He's staying quite dry for the most part, but a little bit bogged down there.
Sebastian Schubert's performing better off the water than on the water. He's had 2 seconds penalty taken off so far. There's still an asterisk, but potentially he moves into second place.
That'd be fantastic if he could try and get into the final there. That'd be very good for the Germans to try and have at least one boat in the final. They're always a very strong K1M team.
Well, comes over the line in the fastest time so far, and he's not sure about the penalty. We'll have the officials looking at that clearly. There is a well-defined.
Yeah. Without that 50-second penalty, it would have been a very, very fast time. But next up we have Benjamin Travisino, another upcoming Swiss star as well.
Well, bear with us until we try and sort out the rogue music that keeps coming into our ears, and then by definition it's probably coming through to you as well.
He's off to a pretty good run so far. I don't really know too much about this Swiss paddler, but he's off to a very good run so far. He's really keeping the boat moving. Quite dry lines, ducking and diving off a few of the poles. Quite an aggressive paddling style. Oh, and he's opting for the peel out and getting the touch on the outside pole. I think that's one of the first K1 men, if not the second K1 man we've seen go for that option on that gate. He's holding it together quite well, taking a very tight line on that down 14, but it seems to pay off. I think we might see a few more K1 men coming down later on with that more aggressive line. It's very nice cross the tail upstream now. Coming into this crunch section is all make or break for any paddlers. Mild mistake there, but he seems to be holding it together not too badly now. He's going to recover from that, and he's into the final upstream. Looking at his time now, he's probably going to be quite a bit off of Dai's time.
Yeah, Tabastini, not his day today, moves into 11th place. 19 athletes now gone, and so far there is Etienne well, the asterisks have all gone away. Daniel Momenti still has an asterisk next to his name, provisionally in 9th position, and Martin Halchin from Slovakia, who can put some good times. You see from Liptovsky Mikolas, he put some great races at the end of last season.
Yeah, he's a very good paddler. He even won the semi-finals, I think, in Ivrea a couple of weeks ago, so he's very quick. He knows how to compete on the world stage, so we'll see what he can do. It's very aggressive style. It's all very much make or break, all or nothing paddling style. So see what he can put down. But he's paddling quite well, quite aggressively. A little bit push onto the inside pole there on that gate.
3/4 of a second up so far. So the first of the 20s for a while to go under.
Hopefully he can keep it together, but the problem with this very aggressive paddling style is that he needs to conserve all that energy for that middle section and down the bottom as well. Be very tricky mentally and physically. It's a nice little trundle down the back of the stopper there, and we can just see the top 4 standings there: Dai, Schubert, Grieger and Crespo. So
he's making it look easy at the moment. He's now 1.8 seconds up. What about his style? How would you define that?
He's very much a laid-back paddler. We can see that he leans very far back on his boat as well. He uses very big paddles as well. But he's very aggressive, and he likes to throw the boat around quite a lot. He seems to be on a pretty good run so far. I think this is probably one of the better runs we've seen so far, apart from Dai's run. So a little bit caught up on that last upstream.
Could live to regret that. He's wasting 3 or 4 seconds.
No.
Was that a 50, or he certainly took it out?
I think that's definitely going to be one for the judges to be having a look at, but that's very unfortunate, ending to such a fantastic run. But provisionally a 99-second run, so we'll see if that can keep him in contact with the others.
Let's see who's next to get up. Is Callum Gilbert from New Zealand. I think with Luca James and Mike Dawson in the last few years, they're really starting to motivate and inspire a lot of younger athletes who clearly, with their amazing facilities out there, including a new centre, it's looking good, but not looking particularly good taking out gate 4.
No, Callum's a very talented young paddler, always has a smile on his face. He's a very nice young gentleman, so I'd say he's going to be a real star for the future. He certainly gave Mike Dawson a bit of a run for his money in their Olympic selection races, so definitely one to watch.
We'll have to ask Mike Dawson, who's coming in for the finals in an hour's time, to see how he rates his compatriot. He may go through. We'll have to see. 2 seconds doesn't help on your penalties.
It's not too bad. I think for quite a lot of these young competitors, when they're in their first year in the senior team doing semi-finals consistently at World Cups, they haven't really got much to lose. They might as well just go for it and see what they can put down and see if it all pays off. But he's off to a good run so far. A little bit caught up on the back of that stopper, but he pulls it off, I think. And coming into the real front section now, see if he can keep that concentration, keep the boat running the whole way through. Just picking up another penalty on gate 17 with the buoyancy out on the inside pole. A little bit low in the cross, but he keeps the boat running so far.
But it's 80 seconds of deep concentration, which must be taking its toll.
Mentally and physically, it's a really demanding course to keep the concentration the whole way down the course. One split second lapse in judgment can totally ruin your entire run, ruin your entire race, or even potentially season. But he's just going to be very much outside of Dai's time, plus 100 seconds.
Well, it's halfway through now, and there is an asterisk next to Lucien Delfort, who is appealing against his 50 seconds. If that came up, he would put him into first place. Daniel Momenti, who's provisionally in 10th place, has also an asterisk, and it is Pedro da Silva, who smiles as much as anyone, from Brazil.
Yeah, he definitely is a very nice young boy. He's always laughing and joking, and he's always got a smile on his face, shouting away to absolutely everyone. So we'll see what he can do. He is the Olympic boat for Brazil. He, although this is their final Olympic selection race, he does have enough points together that he is guaranteed to be the Olympic boat. I don't think anyone else can chase him there.
No, that was announced, wasn't it, last weekend in Saying. The way it works often is that the coach will put something on Twitter saying congratulations, that's it, and then it's the NAC, the National Olympic Committee, who actually officially has to announce it a few days later. So for instance, for Canada, I think they're announcing on the 23rd, but effectively it just needs to be rubber stamped.
He seems to have quite a good run so far. He's a very aggressive paddler. He very much throws his boat around, throws his neck in and around the gates, so kind of conservative around there, but we'll see what he can do off the split time. I'd say he's probably a bit off of Dai, plus 1.6 seconds. That was a nice cross there, kept the boat moving, so he's doing quite well so far. Nothing particularly special about this run so far, but there's nothing awful about it either. So I think this is really... Oh, spoke too soon, but he saved it there with that nice back off.
He's giving some decisions to the umpires, isn't he?
Oh yes, for sure, but I think that's very much his paddling style. It's all or nothing. Go big or go home.
Well, again, Etienne Dai was one of the first athletes to go off, but it's in hindsight, it looks like he put forward a cracking run.
I think it's really that home advantage has maybe come to the forefront there. But next we have Yuri Meglek. He's formerly a Slovenian paddler, now racing for Azerbaijan. So very interesting to see what he can put down here.
Because a couple of years ago, I know the Slovenes are very noble, they let him train with them, although he was fighting for the opposition.
It's a very noble decision of the Slovenian team, but it really shows the sort of friendships you can have with the coaching staff, that they would allow you to still train with them even if you're not competing for their country. So he's obviously got a good relationship there. It's a very nice upstream. We'll just see what he's going to have time-wise coming into the very first split, plus 1.54.
But that's okay. 10th place at the moment is Lubos Hilger, is 4.99 seconds back. The more we go on, the more it looks like Etienne Dai with 96.82 is putting himself with a hope. It's very difficult if you want the first to go, knowing that 38 athletes have to go after you, but let's see how it's going here.
Yeah, he'll have had a long way waiting to see if he'll have qualified for the final, but Meglek, he's getting a little bit caught up there in that gate, but let's see if he can pull it together in this bottom section. As we've said before, this is really the crunch move that he's entering into now. Keeps a reasonably dry nose there coming in, a nice upstream. So much time can be lost getting caught around that inside pole on gate 17, I think. Nice and dry through there. He's just approaching the final upstream. He's starting to look a little bit tired, but hopefully he's got some energy left for that sprint to the finish.
Ducking and diving a little bit. It's probably quicker going forward.
Not quite the ideal sprint you really want to have towards the finishing line, but...
And again, it all fell apart, isn't it? It's the last 4 gates that in theory are not that difficult, but they're catching everyone out with exhaustion.
We're seeing quite a lot of the K1 men. They're coming out very tired of that final upstream on the back of that stopper, trying to take the tide line, but we've seen more often than not they're taking up penalties on that last gate.
Well, representing Portugal, Antoine Loni. See how he goes. There's quite a few athletes now that are not representing the country they were born in, aren't they? Switching their alliances.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a lot of paddlers that have grown up in the French system or are racing in the French national divisions, the N1, N2 and so on. The French system is one of the best systems to racing in the world, that often a French N1 race is the same standard as some World Cups. So he'll definitely have taken racing those French races to his advantage, possibly trained here quite a lot, so knows the course quite well. After a reasonably good run so far, opting for the spin on gate 11. Tie line around gate 12 also.
Well, I've given out a 50 provisionally because I think the head pretty much went through, but it has to be part of the boat at the same time.
I think that's very similar to Lucien Delfour's 50 on that gate also, so we'll see what the judges have to say. I'm sure his team leader will be looking at the video of that. That's a very nice upstream there.
Unfortunately for Daniel Momenti, the asterisk has now come off the situation, so he's out of the final, provisionally lying in 11th place. Pedro da Silva has an asterisk next to his name, meaning he's appealing something. He provisionally in 8th place. So there's a lot of activity for the video judges, who their little office, well, a very smart office, is actually just below the finish line.
He's just picked up a couple more penalties as well on his run, so plus 54 seconds of penalties.
And doesn't believe...
He's not happy with
okay,
that 50.
check it out, you don't need to do that.
So not too bad a run. He made the semi-final in Ivrea as well, so he's a very good, consistent paddler. So we'll see what he can finish up with, see if his judges can appeal that 50 seconds.
Marcel Potonci from Hungary.
Formerly a Slovakian team member also.
Just over the border.
Interesting fact about Marcel, he actually sawed off part of his thumb a few years ago, so, but he hasn't let that stop him either. He's still a very good paddler.
Talking pointer split. Well, looking good so far. Half a second down, but clear.
That's a very good. Just coming up to this middle section here, see if he can try and keep that composure.
We seem to know exactly what he wants to do.
Very good running of the boat here. He doesn't seem to be repping too much. Very long, powerful strokes, just to kind of keep the boat in precise movements and
Like
keeping on
almost like
line.
a duck it over style.
Exactly. Oh, he's just gone below gate 15, so that's going to be very costly, but he corrects it quite quickly. Hopefully he'll be able to put that to the back of his mind and be able to pull off this bottom section just here, which is very tricky.
But as we saw, it was very costly. So he's now 6 seconds off the pace, which wouldn't be enough to put you in the final. 40 athletes started off about half an hour ago, and only clearly, as we all know, only 10 make it through to the final.
He's just approaching the final upstream now, and he seems to be on a reasonably good run, apart from the fact that he's down on the split times, but also choosing that very tight line towards the last gate. So crosses the line in a time of 1:03:11. So I don't think he'll be too happy with that.
No, looks a bit disgusted. If you're just tuning in, we're coming to you live course side from Po. Aisling Conlon from Ireland, who is talking us through it. Alexander Grimm is in the water, has his own made boat because he's a giant. The 2008 Olympic champion has really come back into it this last year or so.
Yeah, with the German team, because they have so many very strong K1 men, it's very difficult to make the team consistently. So we see it in quite a lot of the big nations like the Czechs, the French, and the Germans, that quite a lot of the very top K1 men can often see a few years of a gap from making the national team. But he's paddling very well today.
And look at that, 1.7 seconds up. It just shows that it's a course for big bodies today.
Yeah, he's got long arms. They're nice long levers to be able to reach from the front of the boat. But he seems to be on a very good run so far, forcing his way down.
So far, Etienne Dye is leading, hasn't yet qualified, from Sebastian Schubert, Jakob Grieber, Juan Crespo, Ben Hayward. So they're all names that would easily justify a final. Let's just see how they can keep going. Well, he's just lost a little bit of time, but still crucially 1 second up on the field, and he's clean. Alexander Grimm from Germany.
It's a very nice cross just there. I think 1 second down on Dye on this course is not bad so far.
Crucially, a third German, well, out of the 4, is going to be Paul Buckelman.
Very interesting paddler. He's picked up quite a few medals on the Ice Canal in Augsburg as well, so we know he's definitely capable of medal potential here. So see what he
Alexander
can
Grimm,
do.
where's he going to come forward? Looks like it could be certainly in the mix in this semi-final. Well, 6th place. It looks like it really shows how strong Etienne Dye and Sebastian Schubert were in the last section, because they were nowhere to be seen in the midsection. They just really managed to negotiate that. Samuel Ernands, who in his local course can really put down an impressive time. Fairly slight build.
So again, being born just across the border in Liceo, he's probably had quite a number of training camps here over the years, so he probably knows the course quite well. After a reasonably good start, nice tight upstream gate 4, and opting for the forwards move 5-6 into that up. Just coming up to the first split time now. I'd say he's probably in touch with Dye. Oh, 1.18 off. Is opting for the spin option nice and early. Hopefully he can get that boat to run across that wave nice and cleanly onto the up. We've actually seen quite a number of 50-second penalties on the exit of that upstream, so he took the slightly wider line on the exit, but he seems to be on a reasonably good run so far.
There's a couple of places you have the feeling he's losing a second here and losing a second there, which are shading the time 0.7 seconds down. How is he going to do the last section, which has seen a lot of time changing hands?
Exactly, this section just here is really make or break it. See if you can really keep the boat running nice and dry, not let the water bog him down too much, and keep that stroke rate up. Just approaching the final upstream now.
Again, even in these last 2 gates, we've seen 2 or 3 seconds change. Just re-accelerating away from the last gate, but could be the fast second, third maybe. Oh, 5th. It shows now there's now the top 5 athletes are within a 0.7 of a second.
Yeah, he doesn't seem too happy with that run either. But next up we've got Andrea Romeo, another Italian boat.
Isn't that a photograph?
Yeah.
So if you need to next time, that's Giovanni Di Gennaro's photograph, which might be confusing because he now has a wonderful moustache.
But Andrea's another very slight height-wise paddler. He's very broad on the shoulders, very powerful as well.
We saw him put some amazing runs down. I think it was Thatcher a couple of years ago where he absolutely flew down. Again, he's one of the athletes that people expect to either win or not make the top 20.
He's very risky sort of style. It's very much all or nothing. But he seems to be on a reasonably good aggressive run so far. He's just coming into upstream gate 12, a little bit caught up there, but he's not too bad run so far, just coming down towards this bottom half of the section of his run. Keeps the boat running reasonably well there, opting for the spin quite quickly. Hopefully that can pay off. Oh no, he's absolutely blasted by gate 16, I think.
Flying over, isn't he? He's really putting in the run of his season. Second up the split.
A little bit bogged down there though on that cross. He's picked up that.
16. Did you think it was a 50?
Yeah, I think that's definitely one that he knows he's got. It's kind of falling apart for him a little bit there with that spin, but hopefully he can try and pull it together and finish off a good run.
If you look at the leaderboard, there's none of the top 20 have any asterisks by their name, so it means there's nothing to appeal, nothing to come off. Well, it was a fast time.
It was very fast. It's very unfortunate about picking up that penalty. He very much could have pushed Dye for the top spot there if he kept that run going together. But
What was interesting yesterday when we were watching the demo runs, there's people watching quite a few athletes, and when we saw him in his heats, everyone moved forward. Seb Combo, who is going to Rio, last year he was on his bicycle, didn't even take part because he was very much a case of part of the organisers, and now he's just taking it part. 2007 world champion.
very interesting paddling style. He's very slight build as well, but hopefully he can put down a very good run here today. He knows the course very well. Pretty sure he lives in Po also, so he definitely will know the course inside out.
Well, 2.3 seconds up.
Wow, he's got fantastic home advantage here. We can just see the crowd right in front of us are cheering him on, whistling, so he's definitely got his support team behind him.
Well, I think it's the perfect formula. A former world champion who's one of the hardest workers as a helper here. You're bound to have a bit of popularity there.
Yes, for sure. He's on a very good run so far. He really knows the water, using it to his advantage. He hasn't really gone bogged down anywhere on any of the stoppers, so I'd say he could very much... Oh, he's
Well,
going
still
to-
2 seconds up, so really no time has changed hands in the middle sections. It's a case of
Can
Etienne
he
Dye
keep
showed
it?
us what to do, and he's also showing us how to keep the boat moving fast and skip across 17, 18.
He's a little bit low there, but the key was they kept the boat moving, so he was able to absorb the fact that he was low in that gate. Approaching the final upstream, this could be a very, very fast run, I think.
Well, so far he's up on the clock, just needs to go and keep the speed going in this last gate, and we're going to have a new time of reference. Another 5 or 6 strokes to go. Where's he going to be? Well,
That was a very quick time. Open to first place.
1.08, and it looks like, well, so far we do have a France 1 and 2. No one has yet qualified, with 11 athletes to go, but he looks confident here. Well, here we saw his photo. What are they going to show on the graphics? Yes, they got his photo again. And it's Giovanni Di Gennaro, who had his maiden victory in Ivrea a couple of weeks ago from Italy, and crucially for him, he displaced Daniel Momenti to take the Olympic spot.
Yeah, he's a very good, promising young paddler. He was junior world champion in Foix in 2010 also, so he's been a very good junior and under 23 paddler. Now moving into his first year in the senior team, he will hopefully have a very good Olympic Games, but he's very much shown his form having that gold medal in Ivrea.
He's a big lump of oil, isn't he?
He's a very big paddler also, so I think he's very similar in stature, I think almost to Alexander Grimm, I'd say.
Something's dramatically gone wrong. If you look at the split time, he was with a 2-second penalty on gate number 2, he's 4 seconds off.
Oh, and he's just picked up another touch there on gate 12 with his bar. I think it's going to be very difficult to absorb 4 seconds worth of penalties on a course like this. The margins are going to be so tight between the top 10.
Well, so far the top 10 have a margin of 3.9 seconds. 11 athletes to go, or 10 athletes to go now, so we're going to soon have the first guaranteed through, and it's looking really good because we have just top athletes in there. Well,
be
no,
very
there's too many, there's
disappointed.
4 lots of penalties now.
He'll be very disappointed with the way this run is going. He's picking way too many penalties. He's not necessarily making that many technical mistakes in terms of being offline. He's just picking too many penalties,
Well,
leaving a bit for the judges to judge.
Didn't compete last weekend in Seo, perhaps. Well, look at that. It's a full house.
There's not really too much to say about that run. It was very good on lines, but just took it a little bit too tight that last upstream. A little bit unnecessary.
Dariusz Popiela from Poland, 30 years old, visualizing the course.
He's another former Olympian from the Beijing Olympics. Unfortunately, he won't be representing Poland again this time, but we'll see what he can do today.
And everyone seems to characterise the Polish as being extremely fit, extremely fast, extremely strong.
I think that's a very good generalisation of their team. They're very aggressive paddling style. It's very much all or nothing. Very tight on the very first upstream. Looking for the spin move here. Very interesting he was so aggressive at that first upstream to then take a spin move there. He's just up on the spin 1.35.
Well, so far, interesting.
Opting for the peel out there. He's taken a few slightly conservative lines, but he's paddling the conservative line very, very quickly.
So different. You either go for the tight line or you go for the conservative lines. If you do it, you may as well do it quickly.
Exactly, that's it. He's on to a reasonably good run so far. We can just see he's coming up to the halfway spin now, see if he can be in contact. 1.42. This is the real make it or break it section just here. Oh no. Really getting caught up on that cross just there. Let's see
So what makes it so difficult, that section there? I guess you have quite a big drop and very fast water.
Yes, it's really sort of like, because there's 3 drops very much close together, it's very difficult to keep the boat dry the whole way through. Try and keep it dry through there. And that cross with those 2 upstreams can be very sticky if you're not quite on line. You have to keep the nose up the whole way across and then let it dive down a little bit and then pick it back up before you cross the eddy line again.
Well, let's see where he comes in. Rank 14, not what we like. Thomas Berchinger from, well, clearly from France, representing
Argentina.
That's right.
He's paddling the new Kaipi model from Galasport, so we haven't really seen very many people paddling this boat on the international circuit yet.
Tell us about the boat.
Tell us about the boat. It's a very interesting new design. I think it's been designed by Navu, so it could potentially be the new boat for everyone to be paddling. At the moment, most people that are paddling Galasport are either in the Tic Tac or the Rad, so it's very interesting that they brought out the Rad and the Kaipi both within the same season, so it's unusual to bring out 2 new models so close together.
Certainly has local knowledge.
We actually had training slots with the Berchinger all week and he was paddling very, very well. So I'll be really looking forward to seeing what he can put down today. It's quite a nice upstream. It seems to be running the boat quite well so far. No major mistakes or major time losses, but not necessarily the fastest run either.
Knows more about the water than anyone. He's doing his postdoc studies on water quality, so he knows all about how water works. 1.66 off, which will be disappointing because he would have expected to make the final. Probably still does. See, that shows local knowledge. He knows exactly how to be in.
That was a perfect line. That's very much an example of exactly what you want to do. You're not quite the dry line there, a little bit caught up, but hopefully he can keep the boat running into this final upstream and the final sprint. Nice upstream. Choosing to go inside the stopper, so slightly more conservative, but it seems to pay off. He's going to be just outside the leading time now.
Where is he going to be? Rank 7, so in theory he could come through, but the quality of the next athletes is absolutely extraordinary.
He's going to... these upcoming K1 men, they're very, very fast paddlers. Next up we've got
Paul Bockelman, a second. Here he goes. He was disappointed to miss out of the team for the last couple of years. Is very, very fast.
He is a good paddler, definitely. You can see what he can put down here. He's a good member of the German K1M team. He's missed out the last couple of seasons, but he should be able to put down a very good run, I think. Opting for the spin move here. That was a very good upstream, so hopefully he can keep the boat running the whole way down the course.
This always looks so in control.
I think that's a German paddling style, that they're very controlled and they like to be very precise on where they're going also.
Well, 2-second penalty on 15. Did you see that?
He won't be too happy with that. That might have been the very slightest of touches, but a little bit caught up on the cross as well. A little bit caught up there also, but hopefully he can keep it going all the way down to the very final upstream.
No, it's not what we would want to expect here. If he was in Augsburg, I think we'd be seeing a different thing.
I don't think there was anything particularly special about that, but he's definitely sprinting towards the end like he means business.
Well, outside, and moves into 12th place and disgusted with himself. So Nevu, Berit, Hadalek, Prindis, Biazadzur, Otelek and Cows are to come. That could be a World Championship final. Boris Nevu from France was 2014's top paddler. Every time he was on the water you expect him to win. Surprisingly missed out by 0.06 of a second to Sebastien Combo for the French position in the Olympics.
I'd say he'd be disappointed on missing out on the Olympic spot, but he's definitely the people's champion, I think. Every single time you see him training in Po, every single person turns up to the water and they're looking at Nevu's every single move. Himself and Combo are two of the best paddlers on the French team right now.
0.8 off the pace.
You can definitely see the home advantage coming through now as well. Oh, and he's going forwards. I think he's the first K1M we've seen do that. See if it can benefit him. Very quick upstream also.
If you check out the Planet Canoe site, we did a profile on Sylvain Cunier, who is Boris's trainer last weekend. Boris, Emily Fair, both have a personal trainer.
Sort of good run so far.
Oh, it's very good, isn't it? 0.4 up.
This could potentially be a new race leader if he can hold it together through this very tricky section.
I know yesterday in the heat, he said he was holding back a little bit, hoping to put on a show for the public. Didn't make the final last year, and that was a bit disappointing here. Let's see how he can go.
Hopefully he can keep it together now. He's on a very good run so far. I'd say the home advantage is really showing through. It's just starting to lash rain outside here, so hopefully that wouldn't have affected him too much.
Well, re-accelerates the boat. Not much time to play with. Ranks 7, which is not yet enough.
No, I'd say he'll have a very long waiting game, just seeing if that'll be enough to bring him through.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 athletes to go. Jackson Merritt, who's been on the scene a few years now, from Australia. Always happy, always smiling.
He very much gave Lucien Delfour a run for his money in their Olympic selection for the Olympic spot, so he is the reserve, so I'm sure he'll be trying to have a very good World Cup season to try and make up for the fact that he's missing out on the Olympic Games.
Absolutely pouring down now outside. It doesn't really, I guess, affect the athletes on the water, but the fans are taking a real hammering at that. Well, 3.88 off with 4 seconds of penalties.
I'd say he'll be disappointed with the fact that he's got 2 touches already so early in the run, but he's very aggressive paddling style. He's very much leaving no real room for margin. He's going hell for leather, so we'll see what he can do in the bottom section. See if he can keep it together in a very tricky bottom. Very aggressive line there, and just
He has to go back round again. You're allowed to go back round again. Certainly, he clearly pick up the 2-second penalty.
I think he was just trying to go a little bit too tight on that gate, trying to put in the reverse to do it forwards, but it didn't quite pay out for him.
No, that's not going to happen today. 3 penalties, so that's 6 seconds automatically added onto his time.
Yes, and that cross there wasn't ideal either, taking quite a lot of water onto the front of the boat, which would obviously slow him down. Have to re-accelerate the boat once again.
Coming to you from a very wet Po. 4 athletes have qualified for the final. This is the semi-final you're watching, with Aisling Conlon from Ireland certainly earning her fee today with all the words of wisdom coming out. Jackson Merritt not going forward today. So, Sebastien Combo, Etienne Dye, Sebastian Schubert, Jakob Grieger, Juan Crespo have qualified so far. Vavra Hadilek, former world champion, certainly on form.
He's a very strong paddler. He really likes to showcase for the public as well. He's very aggressive also. So we'll see what he can put down today. He was very good in training all week. Nice upstream there, lots of pop out also, using the water to his advantage.
And if anyone listening or watching has connections in the photography world, don't buy some second-hand kit. He had his travels with a Red Bull photographer, and this week had all his kit, about 50,000 euros worth of kit stolen from their van, and hasn't had it replaced yet. Anyway, look, he was about a second and a half off in the middle split, but really looking to put down a run.
He really would be a favourite to make the final, if not perform in the final, so we'll be looking at his run closely to see what he can put down.
Last week was actually interesting. He had 4 seconds of penalties. He was complaining that he didn't realise he had 2 of them, which meant he was quite slowly just cruising along to make the final. Well, a bit caught up there.
I don't think that was really the line that I really wanted to take, but hopefully he can pull it together a little bit more. Very tight on that next gate, but this really is the make or break section. See if he can pull it through here.
He needs to pull out something special because there's not much margin. There's less than 2 seconds between the first place and the 10th place as we stand.
He's getting very bogged down here. Lots of water on the front of his deck, which will slow him down and have to re-accelerate the boat, but he's coming to the final upstream now. See what he can do. I think he might be slightly outside our leader's time though.
No, unfortunately it's not going to happen.
Unfortunately, he would be one of the favourites for a final, but he won't be having that today. So he's not happy with that run either. You can see it on his face.
Does mean that someone else has qualified. It means that Samuel Hernandez has qualified for Spain for the final, which was going to take place in a couple of hours' time. Let's see who we have on the water now, and it is the winner in his debut World Cup win last weekend in Iseo. It's Viprindes, also from the Czech Republic. They say they share the same coaching staff.
He's a very good paddler. He's very aggressive also. He's a very timid individual. He's also doing a postdoctorate at the University of Prague, I think Charles University, which he put on hold briefly in the run-up to their Olympic selection, so he might be going back to his studies after the season. So. But he seems to be off to quite a good run so far, keeping the boat running, no penalties yet. Oh, just as I say, one pops up on our screen.
Taking a direct line, no stress, no problem.
That was quite quick also. So let's see what he's going to be off the first split. 3.67. So he's a little bit off contact, but he
So
could...
name for it, what does he have to do? Does he have to just keep his normal style? Because he's frighteningly quick when he wants to be. 2 more seconds penalties, which no one has gone through to the final yet with more than 2 seconds of penalties.
I think at this stage he really needs to try and pull it together and just finish off these last 2 gates consistently, not try and pick up any more seconds of penalties. But I think with the time he's got now, I think he's going to be outside our leader's time and outside the final.
No,
I
nowhere
don't
near.
think it's going to be enough.
Another one qualified, and who's qualified now? It's Bois Nevi, which is good news for the French.
And that'll make for a very interesting final.
Well, 3 Frenches so far through.
And next up we have another French paddler.
Mathieu Bizizou, who showed everyone the sort of run he could do last year in Liptovsky. He won by putting on exhibition. Missed out on the French team this year for the games. And look, you can see in your pictures there, just the power of the rain coming down. Crucially not moving around. There's no wind, which is not moving the storm off, unfortunately. But on his day, he's very, very spectacular to watch.
He can be a quick paddler for sure. He's definitely shown that with several World Cup and European Championship medals also. Ducking and diving a little bit off of that upstream 7, but he knows the water quite well. He'll use that home advantage, hopefully, and put down a very solid run to showcase himself to the home crowd. And also
bit
shows
of noise going on, but he's stuck there.
He chose to go forwards on that move, which I don't think is necessarily pulled off for him. For whatever he might have gained in that one gate, he definitely lost on that cross. quite nice run of the boat across the back of that stopper though, so there's definitely some good pieces to his run so far.
But crucially, 2.5 seconds off. We saw Etienne die a bit off the mark, and because he used the course so well, he was able to make a second to say up. So he'd have to do that.
Yeah, that was a good cross just there, so he definitely will have picked up some time there. See if he can just pull it together to these next few gates and into the last upstream. I'd say he's going to be in contact with the leader's time if he can just get out towards this last gate.
So when you're in that situation, do you have to try and cut the last gate? Or what do you do?
I'd say in these situations, I'd say with the K1 men especially, it's all about the smallest of margins, cutting those lines as tight as you can.
4 French athletes in the final, and 2 athletes to go. Mathieu Orelkak, who is going to the games, I believe.
He's a very promising young Polish paddler. He aggressive paddling style. It's all or nothing with him. He's a good junior, good under 23, but he's yet to pick up any international medals to his name, so we'll see could he potentially do that today. Off to a good start so far, very aggressive.
Will you be able to keep this energy level going to the end, do you think?
He definitely, was a bit off the line just there, getting pushed around a little bit and picks up a 50 on gate 8. He's a very young paddler, so he does have youth on his side to keep up those energy levels, and choosing to go forwards on gate 11. It's a good run so far, except for that penalty, but I'm sure his team leaders will be looking at the video to appeal that. He's a very strong, powerful paddler. Bit tight on that upstream. Oh, the run seems to be falling apart for him a little bit now.
Did he get that run?
No, I don't think he negotiated that gate correctly. So that'll be
17, let's see what happens there. Yes, another 50-second penalty on 17, so unfortunately it means that he doesn't go through, but it does mean there's a place for Thomas Bersinger. So 4 French athletes plus a French one representing Argentina. We've seen this before, haven't we? We saw in the finals of the Worlds in 2014, the majority were French.
in Deep Creek. Yeah, we had a number of French athletes plus French-born athletes representing other countries. So
Peter Kauser, who's the king.
he's our final boat down also.
Absolutely, double world champion. Had a nasty dislocation in London a couple of years ago, but seems to run the overall standings, I believe, last year. See how he can perform.
Yeah, he's come back from injury almost stronger than ever, so we can see what he can put down today. But he's an exciting paddler. He's very much the king of our sport, so we'll see what he can do. Nice first upstream.
So how would you characterise his style?
I'd say he'd be very ducking and diving. You can see that out of nearly every single upstream he leans forward to try and get as much out of the pop out of every single upstream. Very controlled, also precise. He knows what he's doing.
4 seconds off the pace with a 2-second penalty is not what he wants.
No, it's quite unfortunate. We were expecting him to be a guaranteed finalist, but it is all still to play for. He does still have to approach the final section of the course.
Canada's Ben Hayward is in 10th place as we speak.
I'd say he's had a very long wait waiting to see if he'd make the final, but see if it pays off. Just approaching this final section here where we've seen so many people have good runs. Just getting caught up on the rocks with his nose there, I think.
Ben Hayward was 2.17 seconds back, so that's how much Peter Kauser has to play with.
He's keeping the boat nice and dry through there, coming into the final upstream, so we'll see. We'll keep it going. I think he's going to be in contact with that final time.
So the time to look out for would be anything less than 97.91.
Just into 10th place.
I think he's made it by 1/100th of a second. He's made it by 1/100th of a second.
That's a close final, so I think we're going to have some interesting paddlers in there. 3 or 4 French paddlers.
doesn't know yet that according to my records, well, let's see what happened there. I'm not sure. If you look at that,
No, perhaps a penalty might have popped up after he crossed the line.
wait, no one knows. Is this the? This is the initial classification. I don't have anything next to the name of Peter Cowser at the moment, so I guess they must have thrown him on the 15.
I think it'll be a strong final anyway. 4 French boats into the final, so the home crowd will be very happy with that, I'd say.
Well, yeah,
Good
to
home
have-
advantage.
To have so many Frenchies coming in at this stage is really what we want. So, Aisling, hopefully you've enjoyed yourself here. You've got the best view in the house. Thank you so much for giving us your benefit of your experience here. Enjoyed yourself?
Great, thank you very much.
Well, thank you today. We're going to keep going. We're going to have a little break, and then we're going to keep you updated. If you look there on the screen, there is an asterisk by Peter Cowser's name. He has a 50-second penalty. If that comes up, we'll certainly let you know. But keep watching, keep in tune, stay in touch, and we'll be with you soon for the finals, which is going to be the C1 men, the C1 women, and the K1 men. So signing off, and we'll see you soon. If you want to keep what's going on, follow @Planet Canoe on your Twitter, and you can see everything that the athletes are thinking. Thank you very much. See you soon.